Yeah. Memories. Memories.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to the CGL Season 12 EU Masters Grand Finals. Yes, that's right. We are playing the Grand Finals right here, right now. It's Ushi's Daycare taking on No Limits here for the title. My name's Jeff. I'm here alongside Tell J-Can. This should be a good one. An unusual placement here as we've got the kind of a surprise Grand Finals happening.
Yeah, due to some circumstances, we have had a very short time to have these finals, but we are in for a very good match. Both these teams have played against each other before. It did go into the favor of No Limits last time in a 3-0 game, but who knows, maybe we'll see that change. I mean, obviously both these teams have been working very, very hard to kind of make it to this spot, so we should be in tune for a very good game, but we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, kind of got here by process of elimination. As this division has been a little lacking this year, but that is okay. It is. We decided to go ahead and have the grand finals now and actually keep it competitive when the teams are still having fun with it, as opposed to draw things out unnecessarily. So we end up in this circumstance, and hey, you know what? We get to have a great surprise match here in the middle of the season. Let's take a look at the lineup. Let's look at some of our competitors hitting the battlefield today. We will start with Ushi's Daycare. This is pretty much an all-German team, including the eponymous head coach Ushi herself, aside from Lazy Titan, hailing from is Danish.
Yeah, so you know what, looking at this roster, I do think we are going to be in for a very good match. I mean, we'll see if these are the characters they're going to be rolling out on. Obviously, we don't really know what characters they're going to play, but if they do want to go with this Lucio Kiriko style, it's going to be pretty fast paced. Going to try and push that tempo, but we also have to look at the other side of No Limits. I mean, they're fielding a really strong roster themselves.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this one. Very mixed as far as where everybody is from. A very international roster here from No Limits. Coming in 3-0, including that 3-0 win over Ushi's Daycare back in week 2, week 3. Not really sure. The teams have it listed as different dates, but anyway, not the point. The point was No Limits were able to take that one. And every other match that they've played this season, and so far haven't dropped a single map. So on paper, this squad certainly should be your favorites coming in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, very dominant run so far. And yeah, as you said, they have a very mixed roster with where they're from. We have players we have Finland, France, America. We have a Kurdish player and a Norwegian. I mean, this is a very diverse roster, and I mean, they look pretty good. We'll see what they're going to roll out on. I mean, they might run this Mercy, but we'll see what happens in this first map.
Yeah, in case you hadn't figured it out, the Chin Olsen player it would be the Norwegian character. So the Norwegian player. So excuse me if if we don't get that pronunciation right. If we struggle with it, we'll do the best we can with that. It's a lot of consonants. Anyway, let's take a look at our maps here for the day. As we're going to start things off on Ilios. This is a 1-to-4 set, considering it is a grand finals. Ilios is fixed. It's going to be loser pick from there on out.
Yeah, and so yeah, we do have control. Then there's hybrid. We see flashpoint and push, and we'll see what happens if we get further than that. Then we are going to have escort, control, hybrid, and then push again. So, I mean, we have a chance to have a pretty long game if these teams can go at it. We can also get the draws on hybrids, but we'll see what's going to go on in these maps. I'm very interested to see how this Ilios runs, because I do feel like Ilios is a pretty diverse map. You can kind of get away with a lot of comps here, and does sometimes favor the comfort picks. I think there are certain points of Ilios where you can run your comfort picks and do it well as long as you understand the map. But and then going into some of these other maps, I do feel like it does get a little bit more restrictive. So yeah,
I think Ilios will certainly be very telling on what our teams want to play throughout the day. We've seen the Zarya starting to creep in. I mean, we are on that newest patch, and with just those changes, the projected bubble is putting Zarya right back into the middle, so that could be a possibility. Of course, we're in EU, and it is home of Brawl. It wouldn't surprise me to see the JQ Brawl coming out. That has been pretty popular as of late, but who knows? Coming into this, our teams may just want to have some fun with it. The heroes listed, I mean, you saw the icons when we were pulling up the rosters. They were giving us some fun picks. I think just what they enjoy playing, not so much what is actually meta. And they may end up rolling out on that. Considering the circumstances, it wouldn't surprise me just to see these teams having a good time today.
Yeah, and that's really what Overwatch is about, right? We all love to have
Absolutely.
some fun, definitely. And, you know, it's going to be fun to cast, too, if we get to see some of these characters that we usually don't see in more organized play. So, you know, I'm very excited because, you know, there's a lot of characters that they have been listing that I'm, you know, not used to seeing in some of my tournament games or my scrims, but, you know, we'll see what goes on.
Wait, you don't get a lot of Junkrat in your games?
No, I mean, other than the one time I played the Bonzi Buddies, that was very interesting. That was a very fun time for me. I loved playing against that Junkrat, but
No doubt, no doubt.
yeah. But other
Yeah,
than that,
I'm
yeah.
reminded of Shades of Avoided, you know, and Kaya and Kaiser and the constant Junkrat that we see in EU there. But yeah. Who knows? It could be a lot of fun. I mean, we also got some Widowmaker listed. I would love to see a sniper duel going into Ruins. It'd be an optimal spot for that. So we'll see. I mean, you could even, we could see the Battle Cattle, the Orisa come out, particularly on Well. I find that still to be very strong just because you're so hard to deal with and to really move. But it could also be tough to get things done as an Orisa. I mean, you're not very vulnerable to anything, but not particularly excelling at taking down anything either.
Yeah, and I do believe very shortly we are going to be getting into our first map. We're going to get to see what these teams exactly are going to run. And we are going to start out on Well for this first point. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do here. There are certain areas that are very enclosed and are going to favor this kind of brawl style. But then again, you have to watch out for the giant hole in the middle of the point. So, I mean, we'll see what these teams want to roll out on. I mean, we can't really tell anything right now from, the health pools, but okay, we're gonna see the Junker Queen Kyria Lucio, which honestly is very strong. I do think it is a very good comp. Ushi's Daycare, maybe they have a lot of time on it too. So it's gonna be very interesting to see though, because we'll see what No Limits is gonna run. I don't think they're gonna run that Roadhog, but if they do run the Roadhog Lifeweaver, we're gonna have to see how this Roadhog does on this map. Obviously, you have the giant hole, but yeah, no, they're just going to swap to the rest, or they're going to play the Brawl, which, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. We do see a little bit different styles kind of clash, but, I mean, it's really all in the characters, too. We'll see how this Genji does. It's going to be hard to get an angle, but maybe you can find Alan, sitting all alone.
Okay, this is classic poke versus Brawl going on. Ushi's Daycare want to be able to close the gap, and they're going to try to use Cage to do so. No Limits, just keeping as far away, just trying to keep that well in between themselves and the opponents. And Alan is able to get some work done. And in fact, 3-piece here for Alan right out of the gate with 2 headshots to open things up for No Limits.
Yeah, I mean, Alan just gets the angle and kind of catches them on their rotation. It did look like Ushi's Daycare was going to try and rotate all the way around and maybe find somebody split, which in theory would have been Alan, but they just get the picks and they're able to clean up that fight really early. And we are going to see Ushi's Daycare. They're going to swap to this Zarya, Baptiste, which and the Reaper. We've seen it a little bit, played a little bit because of the Zarya buffs, but, definitely relies on a very aggressive Reaper play, getting a lot of value from the team bubbles. We'll see how they want to take this first fight here.
See if I can get Lazy Titan up close personal here with the Oboe. Oboe's doing a good job of dancing around the pillar. Just has to go back off towards the middle as Lazy Titan worked into the back. So Oboe wants to make sure and peel, see if they can protect the supports. But it's going to be Wink falling after the Immortality Field. There wasn't much to protect that back line. And it's Piper is able to find that kill. Ooh, nice shot there from Empty. Finishes off Chinolson. And this is starting to break down here for both of our squads. Lazy Titan gotten in tight, 85% towards that death loss, and while Alan is trying to keep the supports busy, Lazy Titan finally able to bring Oboe down with a little help from Empty. And Ushi's Daycare managed to flip this point in the process.
Yeah, they were able to get the pick off very early onto Piper, and they were just able to win the fight kind of off of that. But I do like seeing the aggression that this Reaper on the side of Ushi's Daycare is playing, because they have the bubbles to survive, really. They have the immortality, too, if they really need it. But now going into this next fight, No Limits, they have 3 ultimates. We'll see how they want to use these. They're going to be able to build the Orisa, too. I do think they're just going to use the Amplification Matrix first, but we'll see how they want to try and take this. They can maybe find somebody split right here.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Oboe actually wants to get up close and personal right out of the gate. Man, we get 2 kills, and we don't even need the Captive Sun for it to happen. Now I was anticipating a wombo combo, and I'm pretty sure No Limits were looking for it. But if you can grab 2 in the neutral and then get Chinolson in a position to clean up, might as well hold on to those ultimates.
Yeah, and a very good window too on the side of No Limits. They were able to kind of isolate Lazy Titan on the Reaper, tried to TP away, but just wasn't quick enough. And now we're looking at this next fight. It's looking very good for No Limits because Oshi's Daycare is, I mean, they are going to be pretty even on ults. I mean, Vibing probably won't get the Railgun ult coming up, but I mean, we'll look at Empty's grab because it could be really big. But again, No Limits, they have a huge combo here with the Orisa and the Captive Sun, so I do think they are going to try and look for it very fast.
I thought they were trying to launch the grab into that. Oh, the Death Blossom has come out. The bubble is perfect. 2 quick kills, including Eager Lulu with the Baptiste. There's just notably sustained lacking here. And No Limits still, they're dancing around. I mean, he's going to find Wink. Empty trying to make their way back into this point. 95% on the board. No Limits are in control. Vibing looking to steal it back, but Morix has fallen, and the Baptiste now absent here from Ushi's Daycare. Obo super low. This is going to be Artillery Strike trying to cover him. Vibing will get that kill before sliding away and ducking and dodging around Shenolson's ultimate. Ushi's Daycare able to get enough done here to flip this point, but still looking a little scrappy.
Yeah, very scrappy fight there. I mean, they were just able to get some picks. And they had to use the ults, though. They had to use a lot of ults in that fight. Ushi's Daycare, now they only have this Sojourn ult, but No Limits, they have the Captive Sun. So it's going to be, you know, very important that we look at these two players in this next fight, because these are the only ults that are really going to be up for the next maybe 2 fights, maybe the rest of the map. We'll see how that goes. But, oh, we are going to see the Captive Sun come out early, and it does find 3.
Nice shot. Oh man, finds both supports. Beautiful shooting there from Wink, and that initial one to pick up Piper. Oh, that was gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful play by Wink there. Was able to find both of the supports with the Captive Sun, and that just wins them the map right there. And Vibing really wasn't even able to use their ultimate, you know, and get good value from it because of how quickly their supports died. But I mean, overall, though, that was a pretty good map by both sides. I mean, we saw a lot of good things on both sides, and No Limits has just been looking very, very good. And we are going to see Allen on these off angles. I mean, Allen was getting a lot of value, too. I mean, so many good angles they were getting, able to find the picks. And then, yeah, we just see Wink hits a huge Captive Sun here, and it finds both the supports. But, I mean, okay, going on to this next point, we'll see. It's going to be a little bit tougher for No Limits to run this comp, I feel, just because of the high ground. There's so much dominant high ground, and they're actually going to swap to the Reinhardt, to a Reinhardt brawl. So they're going to just try and teleport to the point, I would believe. And Ushi's Daycare, they're going to try and surround them, get some angles going. Maybe you can isolate somebody, but it's going to be so hard to isolate anybody on the side of No Limits because everybody's going to be playing so close together. And we will see they do take the teleport to the point, and it looks like they're going to get set up before Ushi's Daycare really has any time to think.
This is what I expect to see from my EU. Obo listed as a Cloudy fan, pulling out the Reinhardt. Try to dominate this close quarters point on Lighthouse, especially that Bastion there, wheels down for Chenolson. Everybody from Ushi's Daycare just trying to hide their heads and make sure they don't stick out too far. Point does get captured here before Empty's able to move on to the objective to contest. So throughout this first fight, No Limits are going to be constantly just building percentage, and they have this point on lockdown. Car Wash is set up, Bastion in the back. Bit of a boop there trying to displace Chenolson, but it's not enough to knock him into a vulnerable spot. It's creating a little bit of a concern out of the back. You can see how Piper's drawing some attention, but Obo is able to move out to the front. Pulse Bomb does come in. Vibing able to get that up pretty early. Mortality filled in a good spot, and no worse for wear here from No Limits.
Yeah, it looks like they are just going to be able to clean this fight, but when you're looking at Ushi's Daycare, they don't really have anything to initiate their fight in this first fight in the neutral because they don't have any ults, right? The whole point is that you do want to be able to build the ults, but when No Limits has a point like that, they're able to kind of get like free 30% without having to take an actual fight. And now going into this next ult, they're going to have both support ults before Ushi's Daycare will. I mean, Empty's going to end. I mean, Lazy Titan might be able to use this EMP here, but it's going to be so tough to really engage because you also have the beat from on the side of No Limits. But we'll see what they're going to do here. They do find the hack on the Reinhardt, and they looks like they are going to try and look for an EMP here.
This coordination has to be perfect. Everybody is caught. Weak goes down immediately, and Eagle, who has no chance to pull the trigger on that sound barrier. Execution flawless from Lazy Titan, picking up 4 after that EMP.
Yeah, very, very clean. They're able to find the picks that were needed. And, you know, now going into this next fight, Ushi's Daycare, they have both support ults, so they will be able to manage No Limits in that support ult category. But I mean, you have to look. They're going to have both DPS ults. It's going to be so tough for Ushi's Daycare to really contest that point unless they use these support ults to contest it, which we'll see if they're even going to have time to before No Limits are able to get that cap, and it looks like they are going to get the teleport on the point.
Immediately, Ushi's Daycare is going to respond with the concerning rush. Implication Matrix and Sound Barrier doubled here from No Limits. All the support ults thrown in, and they have been rewarded. It was a heavy investment, but they get the returns.
Yeah, I mean, No Limits was also just able to use their support ults first, and they were able to get value before Ushi's Daycare was able to respond with their own support ults. I do think they got a pick before the beat drop was able to come through on the side of Ushi's Daycare. We are going to see them swap to this Reinhardt. They're going to try and take the Brawl on point, but it's going to be so hard to push in because No Limits has both these DPS ults. They're going to be able to build the Shatter, so I mean, who knows? They might not even be able to get a touch, but it does look like Piper is going to get that touch.
We're going to be greeted by the artillery strike, and Empty immediately falls. Wall in the back, but Piper's down, and this is a 3v5, and reinforcements dwindling here. Vibing trying to add one more to the mix, but Big Omnic Butler is heavily outnumbered on this objective. No Limits will take our first map, kicking things off strong in our grand finals.
Yeah, very strong showing on the side of No Limits in this first map, and I mean overall though it had been a pretty close map, although it does go down as a 2-0. We did see some pretty good fights on both sides, but in that last point there, it really comes down to No Limits getting so much percent early on that, I mean, yeah, they really didn't even have to take a fight for the first 30, and I mean, this EMP fight, huge on the side of Ushi's Daycare, but they didn't really have anything else other than that to win them fights. So, you know, now you're down your EMP after that fight, and they kind of just lost, and I mean, No Limits was able to kind of clean up the map because they only needed an extra like 30% after that. So, I mean, comes down to a little bit of the strategy there. Really good plays by No Limits overall, and obviously very good just individual plays. I mean, team-wise they were great, individual-wise they were great. I mean, we are seeing now why this team has not dropped a map all tournament. So, yeah, I mean, really impressive stuff outside of both sides.
Well, and it was you saw the intention behind what Ushi's Daycare was trying to do there in the support ult fight. I mean, I think that was really the turning point, is they kind of rotated around from the incoming teleporter. They knew to watch for it and then dropped the Kitsune Rush right back, but got, lost one in that rotation. And like, as you recall at the moment, the sound barrier was just a touch late there from Piper. And, No Limits are able to capitalize and get more value out of theirs. And I mean, they maintained control. And I mean, it was a good read right out of the gate as well, talking about the strategy, just coming out of the Reinhardt first, we kind of set the pace and put No Limits in a good spot, from the get-go.
Yeah, and really it's just when they're running that Reinhardt comp, it makes it almost impossible for Ushi's Daycare to really get a dive going and actually isolate anything when everybody's just on point, right? We saw that they were trying to get the hacks with the Sombra, but they weren't really able to get much value off of that. And I mean, there's not really much you can do about that. It's just, I mean, when you're on that comp, you kind of have to expect them to maybe run out and then maybe you can isolate somebody, but they just have the point. It became so easy for them to get all that percentage, and they still lost the fight, and it's, so tough.
I disagree on the Sombra. I mean, like, they built the EMP up really fast and then immediately turned it into a 4K and took the point with it. So
yeah.
It was the fact that No Limits was able to get control. Like, they were building percentage throughout that entire first fight. I think if Empty had managed to get onto the point and get that contest like they were wanting to initially, it was just a touch behind. But because of that, while they're building up all those ultimates, No Limits is building percentage the whole time. So Ushi's Daycare kind of lost out on an additional fight that would have otherwise had. And I don't know that it was really the fault of the Sombra. Now, clearly the Sombra's fallen out of meta a little bit, but I don't know. I felt like the Sombra did its job.
I did phrase that pretty poorly. I do like the Sombra in that comp, but I do think you might have to, maybe you want to run in like an Ana or something, because because when you're fighting that neutral, I mean, Sombra's very good when she has her ultimate, but in those neutral fights where neither team has an ult, and you have to kind of push into something like that where there's no real angles to get it set up, it is very difficult for the Sombra. But I mean, very impressive they were able to build that EMP in that, by the end of that first fight. It was a very quick EMP, and especially with the EMP, nerf that came out with, makes it a little harder to get the ult, but they were still able to get it pretty fast. But I mean, it's just like the way that the rest of the comp was, you didn't really have anything else to play for the neutral. So it's like, usually you do see teams, maybe they want to run like an Ana Brig there and get set up on that high ground. The Kiriko Lucio is good, and I like it, but it's just so hard to run into that comp, and it's just kind of something like, you know, you get into that, you know, first fight, you're like, well, it's going to be tough for us to win this because they have Ryan. We're not going to really be able to walk, right? The Kiriko Lucio, you want to walk and you want to get value from that speed, but you're not going to run into them. So, I mean, it's just a little bit tough. I mean, there's not really much you can do about it other than, you know, swapping after first fight or playing for your ults, which is what they did. So, I mean, I like the Sombra pick, and I do think it was pretty good. They got the value from it in that one fight, but other than that,
but then immediately swapped too.
Yeah,
right?
then
ended up changing, trying differently, trying the Ash, trying the Mei. So we'll see what happens here heading to map number 2. We did get our map pick coming in from Ushi's Daycare, as we're going to be going on into hybrid. We're gonna move into one of our newer maps. Midtown will be map number 2, and well, I'm curious as to. Are we gonna see more of these unusual compositions? I mean, we were kind of touching on it a little bit with the Kiri Lucio kind of fancies more of a rush style, but they were playing it with dive DPS to start with, and I wonder what kind of adjustments we see heading into map 2 on that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Kiri Lucio, like when you're running it with those dive DPS, like it's still very, very good because of how fast you can take tempo. We'll see how they want to run it on this map, or what they are going to run on this map. We might see that Reinhardt on the side of No Limits again. I do think you can get a lot of value from it, especially on that third point, and even in this first point it could be pretty good. We'll see what happens though. We'll see what these teams are going to want to look at. Maybe we'll see some of those some of the things that they've been saying are their favorite characters. Maybe we'll see the Junkrat, maybe we'll see the Mercy, but I mean, it kind of depends on what these teams are feeling. I do think Midtown, I guess, is also one of those maps that kind of doesn't really feel very defined. I mean, like, yes, brawlier styles are favored, like on third point, but I do think you can get some value from other styles, as we will be heading into our next map of Midtown right now very soon. We're going to be going in, and we'll be able to see what these teams are running. And here we are. We do see the Kiriko Lucio Junker Queen on the side of, I do believe that is Ushi's Daycare.
Yeah, Ushi's Daycare is attacking No Limits, have chosen to defend since they won the first map they were able to choose, which is a kind of a new adjustment here in CGL. Yeah. We kind of adapting more to what we're used to seeing in like Open Division or some of those other tournaments here at CGL. Finally at Season 12, I don't know, I kind of like the auto swapping, but it is what it is. It's a tactical choice here from No Limits, and yeah, they're going to stick with that Orisa here to defend.
Yeah, this Orisa Baptiste Alara is kind of something we saw before this patch came in, and after this patch, more people have been favoring this Junker Queen, and it actually looks like, was Junker Queen going back to spawn? I don't know. Well, we'll see what's going to happen here. It's going to be so hard for them to contest Allen on these off angles, though. Yeah, they're going to swap to that Zarya that they were running, and they're going to keep the Genji. I do think bubbling the Genji is so impactful in these fights. You can get so much value because the Genji is just kind of able to go in, and maybe they're able to find a pick. They're going to be able to force out a lot of abilities, but it's going to be so hard to push into No Limits just because of how this Orisa is going to be playing, and Bubble and Immortality are forced out early. This is going to set them up very good for the rest of the fight.
Trying to throw that energy javelin and see if they can pincer Ushi stick here into that corner. Ushi is able to rotate all the way back through the alley. You got to get out of here quick. Getting stuck here can be very dangerous, particularly against this Orisa Bastion setup. You see Wink up top throwing a couple shots down, Viting trying to hold him at bay. About enough time for Empty to push forward, see if they can steal this room. A couple have moved in, but Empty's not able to get inside. Obo's able to hold him out. Vibing got separated from the pack, and Obo's going to catch him into a corner. They get the Mega, but that just ends up being more ult charge here for Obo.
Yeah, and Empty gets both of their bubbles forced out early, and I mean, they just kind of fall apart after that. It's going to be, again, it's just going to be so difficult to run into this Orisa Bastion because, like, your idea would be, okay, we're going to force out the Bastion turret form, and then we're going to walk after, but you don't really have that much to force it out. You don't have, like, heavy poke in the neutral, and Baptiste gets picked off early. That's just kind of end this fight. Piper might be able to make it out alive, and, oh, Empty barely makes it. Oh, never mind. As, caught me in the middle of my words there. But again, like, the neutral fights play so heavily in the favor of the comp that No Limits is running here, and it's just so hard for this other team to really get some good value from it and get value from their rotations. But now you're going into this next fight. No Limits has all of their ultimates essentially. I mean, it's gonna be so tough for Ushi's Daycare to really push in here.
Once again, going through alley. Want to build up that M-Matrix. I suspect they could possibly use that to get this space, to get into this room. Oh, they're just going to try to run into it. Wheels down from the Bastion. Shinolis is not quite able to pick it up. The bubbles were both used to get that rotation, and now inside the firehouse, Ushi's daycare looking a little stuck. Alan's gonna pick up one. That grenade thrown up top there from Shinolis doing a little bit of damage. Matrix finally comes out, but the Dragons are right on top of it. Empty alone on the point and just gets absolutely chewed through. And we do have a katana pulled by Lazy Titan, and a couple of kills went in Ushi's favor, but it's not going to be enough to really amount to anything. I think reinforcements are going to show up before Ushi will be able to take advantage of any kind of power play.
Yeah, and that initial rotation was very, very good on the side of Ushi's daycare. They were able to get to that high ground. Kind of unfortunate that Alan's just able to find the headshot before you're able to get the rest of your fight going. But now going into this next fight, again, they still have all these ultimates, and Ushi's daycare only has this beat, but they may be able to build this Sojournal, and we'll see. The window's going to come out early, and there's Captain Sun. It looks like the fight's going to be over very soon.
It was 3, no kills on the back of 3 ultimates, though. Omo finally able to bring one down. Piper got, I think we got good value out of that salvager just to keep everybody alive, but more Erics did fall, so it's going to have to just reset and wait for that Baptiste to come back.
Yeah, that is kind of the problem with, you know, stacking all those ults, is that it takes only one ult to counter those, and you have all these abilities to survive. Vibing does get picked off early, and that's losing the Sojournal. I mean, they didn't use it, but now you might not have it in time for this next fight.
You can't wait. Yeah, you can't wait for Vibing to get back. You have to go 4v5. You're running into an artillery strike to boot, and Morierix just gets the brunt end of that deal. Down 3 here. This is looking like a full hole, nobody even to touch there at the end, and a dominant showing here from the defense of No Limits.
Yeah, just again, yeah, very, very good showing, because they were able to control the neutrals a lot of time, and they didn't really have to use ults for the majority of that defense. And really, the only fight they did use ults actually they didn't get a lot of value from them, because Piper was able to use the beat drop to keep their entire team alive. But I mean,
it was one heck of a sound barrier. Like,
yeah,
that was one heck of a sound barrier.
Yeah, again, it was very, very good, and the rest of the ability usages came out, and I mean, the No Limits was kind of lucky. They were able to find a pick after that. They were able to get the pick on the Baptiste, but again, they kind of just dominated the neutral, and that's just kind of how their comp is, right? You can't really walk into the Bastion, and it's Alan was just able to find value on the Hanzo off angles too. I mean, it just became so difficult from the side of Ushi's daycare to really push in and do anything almost. And I mean, we'll see how this comp's gonna run on the defense. You kind of have to get so much value from this Genji. Like, you have to get so much value from the bubbles too, because you have to almost use all of your bubbles just on your teammates, and it's going to be mostly Lazy Titan on this Genji that's going to be getting the bubbles. But again, you're going to look at the side of No Limits. Their comp looks very good for the neutral. If they can get a good rotation first fight, I mean, they might be set up to win, because the only time it's going to get a little difficult for the side of No Limits is if Ushi's daycare is able to get ultimates, get a full charge Zarya, and get value that way. But it looks like they're going to swap to the Jungle. Oh, okay, they're going to do...
Yeah, they're going out the alley. They're going to teleport all the way across, right? Yeah. So they're not even going to show themselves here in main. They're going to teleport all the way to the back alley. Let's see if Empty and company... Oh, no! They're going straight forward. Never mind. This is just a battering ram right up the middle to bang the doors down. And remember, No Limit only needs 1/3 of the progress. No one even gets close. Unbelievable.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen that... that kind of rotation. They're teleporting onto the little fire truck.
Onto the fire truck, yeah.
I mean, that is brutal. I mean, such a quick rotation. They're able to find the picks, but I mean, they also understand though. It's such a smart play, because you understand that in these longer, I mean, in theory, in these longer fights, when they get that when they get full charge Zarya and they get the Sojourn set up on an off angle, like, in theory, that's when Ushi's daycare does good. So No Limits, they understand that, okay, we play fast, we play before they can get like these bubble engages set up, then we might just be able to win very quickly. And that's what they were able to do. They get the fast rotation, they're able to get the picks, they're able to win the fight, and they really didn't even have to take a full fight. They just walked in, touched point, and they won like that. So
one of the fastest midtowns I have ever seen in my life. Unbelievable. No Limits up 2-0 here in your EU Masters Grand Finals. It's time for a quick intermission. When we come back, we're headed to our newest game type. We'll see you on Flashpoint in just a few.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Blink and you miss it. We went through Midtown in roughly 4.5 minutes. One of the fastest maps I've ever seen. And it's put no limits up to... Oh, this is a first of 4, so they're not quite on championship point just yet. But, man, what a strong start.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to be getting... I mean, the way this series has been going, we might get to championship point pretty quick. But, hey, I do want to see some fight. I really want to see some fight at Ushi's Daycare. They had a really good, first map. Ilios actually looked pretty good for them. They got a good fight wins. They show that they were able to compete, and I mean, Midtown just doesn't really go their way, but I mean, they do choose this next map, this Flashpoint. Maybe they've got a lot of good practice on it, and really, so I think Flashpoint's just very good for this Junker Queen Curia Lucio comp that they've been running, so they probably are favored on Flashpoint. It's going to be a little bit better of a map type. They are going to be going to Servasa. I mean, I think either New Junk City or Servasa for Flashpoints is very good for the Junker Queen Curia Lucio, but
sure.
I mean, going into this next map, we're gonna have to see what No Limits wants to run, because they've only really been showing us this Reinhardt style for the most part, and the Orisa as well, and it has looked very, very good. So we'll see if they want to run it again here, because for this point, or for this map, you're not gonna get a lot of very quick fights. I mean, the Lucio is gonna help you, so you are going to get like maybe 1 or 2 fights on the point, maybe 3 if you're lucky, if you can get a good recontest fight. But
yeah, and if you get the close spawns, like if you happen to get one of the points that's close to your side of the map, because each tick is 0.8 seconds, I believe, per tick, versus in control, I believe it's 1.2 seconds per tick. So that control point and flash point does go up quite a bit faster than you might be used to from our traditional control game mode. So it's tough to get 3 fights on that. And especially if you lose the first one without, like, if the opponent gets 20-25% during that first fight, you're not getting a third fight.
Yeah, and especially on these Junker Queen comps where we're not really seeing like the fastest fights happen, we're seeing a little bit more sustain going on. I mean, there is a chance that we might only see like 2 fights on a point, depending on whose favor it goes to. Maybe 3 if both teams win a fight. But it's going to be very tough for the team that loses the first fight onto the point. But, there is a lot of points, though. I mean, we have the chance to hit all 5. We are going to start, obviously, in the middle point, so both teams are going to be going from similar distances. They're probably going to get to point at the same time, depending on what they run. We are going to see maybe No Limits. Maybe they want to run that Reinhardt again. Maybe they feel like that's going to be very good, which I do think it's actually really good into the Junker Queen because, you know, you can kind of just walk at them and you can take that brawl fight faster than they would really like. And, well, we'll see. It looks like, well, from here, we're looking at a Wrecking Ball Junkrat comp. So this plays a lot on kind of misdirection. You kind of want to split Ushi's Daycare's attention up. So, like, maybe when your ball slams, and that's when your Junkrat's going to look for their angle, and it's going to look to play really aggressive, and they're going to get a lot of value from Ushi's Daycare not being very coordinated, but I do think Ushi's Daycare is going to be coordinated. Okay, No Limits are just going to swap. They're going to play the Junker Queen. Ushi's Daycare is going to bring out the Orisa for the first time. I believe this is the first time we've seen it from them today, but No Limits are going to run the Junker Queen. I do think it's very, very, very good on this game mode, but the Orisa, in theory, does pretty good against the Junker Queen, so we'll see how this first fight is going to go for both these teams.
It's No Limits already looking to chase down. Yeah, they had Vibing caught out, and the entirety of the team just went after them. Solo focused and zoned in. Now it's a quick 5v4 as No Limits make their way onto this point. It's just Daycare still looks like they're trying to recover from this, not knowing which way to look. Now Piper is gone. So Vibing, Piper both down. No Limits grab control.
Yeah, and really, they just walk onto the off angle. They're able to get a huge pick onto that Sojourn really early. But, I mean, when you think about it, Ushi's Daycare, right, the whole value you're getting from the Orisa is that you're able to shut down that engage. But when you will play a little bit split like that, and your Orisa's not able to help push back the No Limits engage, then you kind of lose value from having that Orisa, and they're just able to get the pick. And now it looks like Ushi's Daycare is just going to match them on the Junker Queen. Probably a style they kind of favor. Okay, I don't know what's going on in the chat. I'm not even going to pay attention to that. Going into this fight, we might see what's going to go on here. I mean, we'll see. Maybe they can get picks early. We'll see how this goes.
I believe they were referring to the comp switch.
Yeah.
It's Ushi's Daycare, yeah, now mirroring. Using the Sojourn instead of the Tracer. No difference here.
And it looks like
Works goes down early as Wink is going to win that battle of the support. That's carnage in the back of the head. Empty just kind of caught Obo off guard. Unfortunately, the rest of the reinforcements do fall around. And No Limits continue to just focus everybody but the tank. They're ignoring Empty and attacking the squishies.
Yeah, and it really does look like they are doing just enough damage to Empty to keep them back, and then it allows the DPS of No Limits to kind of look at the other DPS on the side of Ushi's Daycare. Going into this next fight, No Limits, looks like they're going to basically have every ult. We'll see how this Pulse Bomb does. Might get canceled out by the Suzu on the side of Ushi's Daycare, but again, a lot of ults on the side of No Limits. They might walk in fast with this Kitsune Rush, and it looks like they're going to get the point first. They might not even have to use it to get this first cap, but we'll see what Ushi's Daycare can do. Sojourn plays a little bit better in these longer fights. See if they can get the value that they really want.
Ushi's Daycare got a fortunate draw here on Temple, but still can't get it done here in the first fight. The early ult serving No Limits very well, and the Pulse Bomb looks to be the only one they're going to need. Focus Fire just so good here from No Limits.
Yeah, and very, very good fight on the side of No Limits. Only had to use that Pulse Bomb to get that pick, and I mean also they focused Empty very, very well in that fight too. Was able to get the pick onto them, but Ushi's Daycare now, they're going to be coming up on all of their ults too, so we might see a huge ult fight here because this next fight could be pretty important depending on how many ults are in place, and we are going to see two huge combos go in.
Daps the Fox Blade to start things off. Actually, both teams pulling out the Dragon Blades. Lazy Titan able to cut through. Eagle decides to hold on to the sound barrier while Piper dropped theirs, and that was a huge difference maker in this fight. And Ushi's Daycare finally getting some stability for the first time on Flashpoint.
Yeah, and okay, very, very good fight on the side of Ushi's Daycare. They were able to kind of cancel that Blade Kitsune rush with the usage of their beat, but now going into this next fight, No Limits, they have the Junker Queen ult, and Ushi's Daycare really only has the Suzu to kind of counteract that, but Ushi's Daycare, they can play fast with their Kitsune rush, maybe get a good fight win before Obo is able to really get a good rampage going, but it looks like they're going to play aggressive and try and force out the Suzu.
Did get the Suzu out, now Obo is going to go through, that one hit at least two. Piper low, Mork's gonna be next to full. Nice shot from Obo to grab Piper out of the sky. Bit of a battle between our Junker Queens. The Jacket Knife doesn't land. Vibing unloads with the overclock, able to grab one, looking to finish off this point with a little help from Empty. It's Ushi's Daycare winning another one.
Yeah, and very scrappy fight on the side for both of these teams. And, you know, on paper, it looked very good for No Limits because they were able to get that Rampage off and they were able to find a lot of value from it. But, you know, while that's happening, Ushi's Daycare was also able to find picks onto No Limits, and that kind of helped them win later on in that fight. They were able to get the support line. It does look like No Limits is going to get the touch. They use the Pulse Bomb, doesn't get any value, but, I mean, we'll see. I don't think they might not be able to get a good touch going. Huh?
Via certainly commands has already been used, and Wink is down. Trying to use it just to save themselves, but Ushi's Daycare really starting to find their rhythm here on this second point. Obo bouncing on and off, trying to keep things alive here, but the DPS now down. Allen is gone. Vibing turning their attention onto the Genji. Is Chinolson is still around here, but it is just Chinolson and Obo left. Scratch that. It's just Chinolson.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify because when I said that they were not going to be able to get a good touch, I kind of meant more recontest fight, and which is kind of what happened. They weren't really able to get a good recontest fight because when somebody has to touch, that gives Ushi's Daycare so much time to look for that pick on whoever's touching the point, and that's what they were able to do. And now Ushi's Daycare, they have 3 very big ultimates going on in this fight. We'll see what Lazy Titan wants to do with this Dragon Blade, but Empty and their Rampage is going to be very, very big in this fight, and No Limits doesn't have much to answer other than maybe a Dragon Blade of their own if they're able to build it, but looks like Ushi's Daycare is going to get control of the point first, and might set them up very, very good for the rest of this point.
Yeah, they got their second close spawn here on this objective. So Gardens, they really need to win Gardens. The next 2 unlocks will be closer to No Limit spawn. It's going to be an early dash in. Lazy Titan's the one to pull the katana out. Still not quite able to pull Allen out of the sky. There's in a bit of a do-si-do. Lands those shots for the dash away. Lazy Titan cannot confirm it, but their counterparts can. It's Morex fighting 2 final blows, vibing with a pair as well.
Yeah, and Ushi's Daycare, they used 3 ultimates in that fight, though, so they do have to commit a lot, and No Limits didn't use anything. So this next fight's looking pretty good for No Limits, and they actually might be able to kind of snowball this into the rest of the point if they can win this point without having to use too many ults. But Ushi's Daycare, they're going to have the Sojourn Overclock, and they're going to have the Kitsune Rush, so we'll see what this next fight's going to look like, because it could be very telling for the rest of this map as well, if No Limits is going to be able to get good value from a few ults.
It's going to be a Foxblade once again. So they're already used. Morix is the target. Did manage to get that Kitsune Rush out to give Ushi's Daycare a chance, but it was a fleeting chance at best. There's No Limits. Finally able to wrestle this one back. Ushi's Daycare had really kind of stolen this tempo away, and No Limits finally able to get back to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah, now No Limits going into this next fight, they have the beat drop to kind of counter Vibing's Overclock, and that's really all you're going to be able to use it for here. But Allen with this Pulse Bomb could be very big if they're able to find a pick before the fight gets started, and it'll allow No Limits to not have to use the Rampage, because I mean, in theory, you would like to save the Rampage for the next fight because that's going to be your only ult, and it's such a huge ult. It can win a fight by itself if you use it correctly. But Ushi's Daycare, they have this Overclock. It could be very big if they're able to find the picks, but they have to be able to get into this fight first. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here if they're able to get a pick early, even without these ults.
Well, No Limits may have made the read that Piper doesn't have the sound barrier. So it could be an opportune moment for Rampage. We'll see how No Limits decides to play it. It's going to be Allen trying to use the Pulse Bomb first, but Vibing's able to slide the way, but lands right into the blade of Obo's Carnage. Good start, and still Obo's able to hold on to their own ult. Going to the back more, it's very slow, but Lazy Titan with the peel is at least making that kill costly here for No Limits, but they still have plenty to work with. Lots of drip for No Limits, and now we're in a 99 situation. Ushi's Daycare really needed to win this point, and it's not looking like it's gonna happen. Just Lazy Titan left, and No Limits are able to snag this one from an 84-0 all the way up.
Yeah, that's just a really smart fight on the side of No Limits, because they understand that they can make this last fight on that point. That was kind of the major thing, is that they were playing so far back, and they were kind of forcing Ushi's Daycare to play slowly and slowly take that space, and it just helps No Limits that they're able to win that fight as well. And now you're going to go into this next point. I mean, you're going to be relatively, well, Ushi's Daycare, they're going to have 4 ults, so we'll see how this next fight goes. If Obo, I mean, not going to really be able to find a lot of value with the Rampage when the beat on the side of Piper is on the playing field, but No Limits might be able to build their ults. If they're able to win this fight with only having to use maybe 1 ult, this could set them up very good for this point. But it looks like Ushi's Daycare already is, you know, pretty set up on this point, and they're going to have the ults to hold this space.
Keeping No Limits up into that high ground right now. It's going to be Empty, who's the first to pull the trigger. Final 3, 2 of which cleansed by Wink. But Shen is still low and really wants to get to that blade. Lazy Titan's already pulled theirs out, but not able to get a whole lot done. Shen won't get theirs, and both Genjis are off the battlefield. Both teams missing a support as well. Ushi's Daycare able to take an edge here. Vibing taking down Wink. Tilted the scales in their favor.
Yeah, and a huge offing on the side of Vibing was able to find a lot of key final blows in that fight. But one thing I'm kind of concerned about is that we didn't see the beat go out to counter the Dragon Blade Rampage combo. I mean, I thought that would kind of be what you're kind of holding that for, but maybe they have a plan here. Maybe they want to play aggressive with it. Maybe you want to combo that with the Blade or something. I mean, I don't really know. Maybe you want to match the beat, or it's going to be used to counter Vibing's overclock. But I mean, no limits. They have a lot of ults here, so it's not necessarily that bad because they have other ults to win these fights. And oh, look at Vibing. Oh,
that's a collab on the bow support. You couldn't ask for anything more than that. Allen is going to fall to the overclock as well. Vibing. Play of the day right there.
Yeah,
holy cow.
Double onto the supports. I mean, huge play. And maybe that's why E-Girl was going to save the beat, but they just got killed before they're able to use it. And now going into this next fight, Ushi's Daycare, they have both support ults. So they'll be able to counter this Dragon Blade. And we might get to see this 5th point. I mean, maybe No Limits doesn't get a good recontest fight again. It does look like you're like, oh, no, not going to touch. And they didn't even have to use these ults. Ushi's Daycare is going to have both support ults going into this next point. And, I mean, they're set up very, very well, especially if they can get these stagger picks, too.
Sunderola chat, this ends now. Ushi's Daycare really starting to find their oats in this fight. And have, well, they're on track to go grab this last point. I think we're headed to Ruins for the last one. Yep, there it is, your northwest side. And look at the positioning, Ushi's Daycare. They kind of hugged that left-hand corner and kept No Limits pressed towards the far left side of the map. And it's given them a slight advantage moving on to this point. They've got the defensive positioning.
Yeah, they are a little bit split. Ushi's Daycare is a little bit split right now. I do think they've all grouped up by now. But, I mean, Ushi's Daycare, they have both support ults. It's going to be so big. And
first control?
Dragon Blade. And they get the first control, too, without even having to use an ult. They're going to be able to build the rest of them as this fight goes. And Piper finds the pick onto Allen to get this fight started. And it looks like they find 2.
Oh my goodness. Morix throws in the Kitsune Rush and a 5v3. Piper had already given you a +2 in that fight. I'm not sure you needed the Fox.
Yeah, maybe, you know what? They clean out the fight. They're able to get that fight win. And this is such an important because now this next fight for No Limits is going to probably be around 50% or maybe even 60. I mean, this is counting down really, really fast. I didn't really think about it before, but I mean, now instead of Ushi's Daycare, they're even on ults with No Limits. If they can get more value with these ults, they're playing in the more defensive position here. Piper still has that beat, saving it for Chen Olsen's Dragon Blade, but I think No Limits is gonna wait for this Rampage as well. But we
they don't have a whole lot of time to wait.
It looks like they're just Ushi's Daycare is gonna give up the point for a little bit. They do touch now, and we are gonna see the Dragon Blade come out. It's gonna look for the picks.
Yep, Lazy Titan's going into the back. We also get a sound barrier coming out from both sides. That hit all 10 players on the board. Shen with the later blade. Still not everything get anything done. I believe that was a Suzu able to protect Morix through that. But Piper falls late into it. Lazy Titan comes back for a bit of revenge, and it's a 4v4. Last opportunity for No Limits on this map. Kitsune Rush thrown in from the stairwell. Empty was trying to chase him down, but Wink pulls the Junker Queen down. What a play out of your support. Follows it up with a swift jab on the Morix as well. And No Limits, they are not done with Suravasa.
Yeah, and I mean, Winx has been hitting a lot of these key, knives, and they've been getting a lot of very good picks, and now they hit it in such an important moment. They're able to win this fight, and we are actually we do see Allen did swap to the Sojourn in that fight, but now you're looking at this next fight, and it's going to be basically even on only Soj ults, and that's about it. And this might be your last fight, depending on how long this goes. So it's going to be definitely on the side. It's going to be very important to see what Vibing does here, as well as Allen, who are 2 DPS players that have been finding picks consistently in this entire series so far. But I mean, No Limits. It looks like this might be, maybe one more fight, and Ushi's Daycare. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a second fight going, but
I don't think so. I think this is going to be it, and it's a good start as they find Allen with a little help from the overclock. Lazy Titan is able to converge onto Oboe as well. Ushi's Daycare come back in, and in what is the last opportunity, it'll be a 99-99 before it's all said and done. It takes all 5 control points, but Ushi's Daycare able to get the job done. They will take Suravasa and get rid of that goose egg in their map score column.
Yeah, and this is actually the first map that No Limits has lost all tournament and really all season, right?
All season, yeah.
I mean, this is huge. I mean, Ushi's Daycare, they're able to get this. It was a very close map. Obviously, it was very, very close. Goes down to 99-99 on the last point, but maybe they'll be able to take some of this momentum into this next map. I mean, they looked very, very good here. They were able to find a lot of key picks. I mean, overall, I think maybe they did just better on the map type. I think they really understand the map type very well. Kind of helped them out. And really the key thing was also swapping to that Junker Queen really helped them out. Definitely a comfort pick for them. And again, very good on Flashpoint. They were able, and vibing. Also, vibing in this Sojourn has been very, very huge. Was able to find a lot of very big picks. But, I mean, overall, though, I think they also just played better with some of their ults. I think they got a lot more value in certain areas. And that kind of helped them out throughout this entire map. And yeah, huge double collapse.
Yeah.
Vibing, able to kind of end this fight.
Well, and I
such
think
an important fight at that.
On that fight in particular, we had seen precedent from No Limits using double support ults on top of each other with the Sound Barrier and the Kitsune Rush aggressively. And we were wondering what that Sound Barrier was being used for. And I was theorizing, I was kind of thinking that, I think they were wanting to just double support ult right there out of the gate to come in and rush it down. But the Kolak comes through after the Kitsune Rush, but before the Sound Barrier is cast. So it's like even just the split-second timing on that completely interrupted what I think No Limits was looking to do on that play. Like, that was, certainly the play of the day thus far.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that really helps them because they needed that point win, and that really just kind of locks down the point for them, because of how fast the map ticks. I mean, No Limits wasn't really able to get another fight going. But yeah, when you are going to do kind of that double support ult to try and win that fight, it really does go down that the Kiriko is going to use their ult, and then you're going to play so fast, use kind of everything, and then you're going to use the beat to kind of sustain after that and push in even further. Right. But, I mean, yeah, they're just not even able to do that because of a huge collateral was able to, be found on the side of vibing. And, I mean, overall, though, it was a very good map by both sides. I would have liked to see, although I do think the double support ult play can get the value, I do think when the other team is comboing the Junker Queen Rampage as well as the Dragon Blade, I think you can get a lot of value from the beat, just using it there, and you're able to kind of shut down two ults, and then you can use that Kitsune Rush with, if you want to combo with something, you can combo it with the Dragon Blade, you can combo it with the Sojol, you can get a lot of value there. But, I mean, overall, though, it was very good play on the side of both teams, and that isn't really there was other reasons that map doesn't really go in the favor of No Limits, but we are going to see what's going to go on in this next map choice. I don't know if we have it in just yet, but I do think it's a Coliseo. I think we are going to Coliseo in this next map choice for push, which, I mean, if we are going to Coliseo, I do think this is another pretty good Junker Queen point, as well as the Sojourn. I think Sojourn's going to get a lot of value, and it looks like, yes, we will be going into Coliseo, and this is No Limits map choice. But the thing about push is, I do think you also can get a lot of value out of the Reinhardt. Now, if No Limits does plan on playing the Reinhardt, I do think they would have maybe opted for New Queen Street, or maybe I really think that's just kind of one of the best Rein push maps in the game right now. And really, there's only 3 push maps, but I do think it's probably the best one. If they are going to go Coliseo, maybe they want to match the Junker Queen again. Maybe they're going to feel better about it now. But and also just a different map type. I mean, you play it just very differently. But I mean, we'll see what they are planning on doing in this next map, because I mean, this is a very key map. Obviously, if Ushi's Daycare is going to be able to win this map, then we are going to be going 2-2. It's going to be tied. Obviously, still first to 4. So if No Limits is able to get this map win, then they're going to be going into match point, and it's going to be setting themselves up very, very well. So Ushi's Daycare, obviously, they want to win every map, but this is going to be a key one, because even if you lose the map after this, then you're still only 3-2. You get your map choice, you may be able to win that, and then just go into a map 7, and it's going to be very big, very important, and just better than if you were to lose this map, you're down 3-1, and then even if you win the next map, then it's going to be No Limits map choice going into that 6th map. So, kind of looking very ahead. We still have to see what's going on in this map, see what these teams are really feeling, and we're going to have to see how this goes, because if we do see the Junker Queen matchup, I mean, it looked good for Uchi's Daycare. I mean, very good plays by the Sojourn, but, well, we'll see. Maybe No Limits, maybe they want to run the Reinhardt as they've kind of ran before. Maybe they want to run the Orisa. And it does, yeah, it looks like they're going to start out on this Reinhardt Bastion, which very, very good on push. Really, Rein can be run on all push maps, I do feel, although I do think New Queen Street's probably the best. And it looks like they're going to run the Junkrat. And it's gonna be they are gonna be trying to dominate this neutral, and it's gonna be hard for Ushi's daycare to really get good engages going, unless Vibing or Lazy Titan's really able to find a good pick early. But No Limits, they're gonna be going, you know, kind of this death ball style. They're gonna be all stacked together and just gonna try and run at Ushi's daycare and try and get those fight wins that way, because this Bastion is going to melt empty. And it looks like they're gonna get the bot first, and we'll see how this first fight's gonna play out.
Yep, typically about a minute of posturing here. Oboe thought about doing an aggressive move, backed off for a moment. Now able to get Shen into a position, so Empty has to respect the LOS on that Bastion and fall back a pillar. No Limits able to buy themselves one little chunk of space. Empty is now just turning around and looking for cover. Lazy Titan gets caught out by the tactical grenade coming out of Shen, and No Limits starting things off fast and furious. Not a whole lot of posturing this time around.
Yeah, and I mean, No Limits does understand that, you know, you kind of have to play a little bit faster because you don't want Vibing to get value on the Sojourn over time, because, I mean, that's what's going to happen. If you let Vibing just kind of play for these longer fights, eventually they're going to find the railgun headshot, and they're going to be able to get picks up like that way. So No Limits is trying to play a little bit faster, get more value from the fact that you have your Reinhardt shield and you're just able to walk. And now Ushi's daycare, they're going to run a very aggressive Reinhardt style with the May Reaper. They're going to just try and isolate Oboe probably and get value that way. And, I mean, we'll see how this fight goes. I mean, obviously, they're going to be at an ult disadvantage in the next fight. But this first fight, you're still going neutral. So, see how this goes. Maybe they find the pick on the Baptiste, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But Wink is going to have the amplification matrix, as Alan does get picked off early.
Yeah, Vibing trying to drop into the back, looking to isolate Oboe, but Vibing's caught on the wrong side of the wall. A pin will do significant damage, and Empty's able to pick up Wink along the way. Shen trying to protect Oboe as they look to back out of here, but the pursuit is in, the counterpin is down, but Oboe did not have the health to survive the aftermath.
Yeah, and a beautiful wall there by Lazy Titan, able to isolate the Baptiste and the Reinhardt. Although they were already up one, that helps clean up that fight. It looks very good for them. But going into this next fight, as I kind of hinted at before, No Limits, they're going to have essentially every ult going into this next fight. And Ushi's daycare, I mean, Lazy Titan just build that Blizzard very, very fast. And, I mean, Mork's going to have the window, so you're going to be actually relatively even because of that. And we'll see if Lazy Titan wants to use this Blizzard very soon. Maybe they'll be able to catch him on this rotation, and it looks like that's going to happen, and both windows go out, and it looks like that they might be able to win this fight because of it.
Oboe's certainly caught, Wink's back there with him, but Tyre managed to pick up one the other way, so it's still Ushi's daycare with the player advantage, and that second hammer swing, oh, the fire strike misses too, there it is. Follow-up hammer finally gets Alan. And looks like Ushi's daycare going to put together back-to-back fight wins and inch closer to getting this closer spawn unlocked.
Yeah, and another good fight. I mean, Lazy Titan was able to use that Blizzard, able to get so much value from it, able to kill Oboe, and then Wink has to try and keep Oboe alive, but it doesn't really work out, and they get picked off as well. Now, we're going to see both, you know, Earth Shatters coming out in this next fight as Vibing gets picked off by Wink early on in this fight. It might spell trouble for Ushi's daycare, and Wink gets another one. I mean, this Flex support player is really getting a lot of value. Oboe
is just up there having a time of his life. Like, get him, Wink! Was just standing up there shielding the Baptiste. Thought about shattering. Actually uses they use a sound barrier in that for some odd reason. Not sure that was needed, but hey.
I mean, they're using him. That's all that matters. They used it.
They did use it.
It's all right.
Q was pressed.
Yes. And now going into this next fight, we're going to be relatively even on ult still. Ushi's daycare does seem to have the advantage as of right now. But we are going to see the Reaper ult come out, and it's very big. Forces out the immortality and gets a pick.
Oh, Oboe tried to hit it with the shatter. It looked like it just barely missed. I don't know if it was maybe a boop there. But the Earth Shatter goes wide, and Vibing is able to just kind of thread the needle with a Death Blossom, which is not a phrase I thought I would ever say.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of positioned themselves very well. Wink does find the pick on the Piper, kind of running away, and I mean, Piper will be back very quickly. I mean, they can just wall ride, you know. But No Limits, they might be able to play very fast here because they can use this window, take a lot of space aggressively. Looks like Vibing's kind of teleporting in a little bit, but Lazy Titan also has this Blizzard. It looks like Vibing's going to get forced out, you know, very early. I see this Earth Shatter come out too. Maybe a flank Earth Shatter. We might get to see one here.
Blizzard's going to come out first. Oboe is able to pin out, and Olsen and Allen just pour damage into that Blizzard. Everybody from Ushi's daycare congregated inside, and it was easy pickings for the DPS and No Limits. You still have Piper here trying to stall Lazy Titan, and has actually managed to get one. Lazy Titan had no business getting that kill, and this is really kind of throwing a wrench in a No Limits plan. They don't have their Lucio.
Yeah, now they're gonna have to play a little bit slower. They're down. They only have 3 up here, and yeah,
They gotta back out.
They have to back out now, and Ushi's daycare is able to get control of the cart again, or of the bot again. But still, No Limits does have 2 very big ultimates here. They still have the window. They'll be able to take that space back up, as well as the Bastion ult's gonna help them take that space as well. Ushi's daycare doesn't have anything to really match, so they're just gonna have to try and kite out here, play for the rest of the map as well. But I mean, they just get forced out. Everybody gets really low. It's gonna give them so much space, but Allen gets picked off as that is happening and might give Ushi's daycare the win here.
Yeah, Lazy Titan just surprising you with icicles out of nowhere. Obo blocked off by the wall. An artillery strike to try to protect the Reinhardt, but Obo's just getting beaten, battered around the heels. Not quite enough. It was so close. Full team effort to try to protect Obo, but Ushi's daycare overwhelmed. Now sound barrier thrown in to continue to push forward and see if they can get closer and closer to this lead. Ooh, might have Wink caught out on the left-hand side. Everybody is trying to converge on the map. TC Mortality Field is used. Wink is going to go down, but Schnolzen's able to take one with him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be very tough to play this next game without. Oh!
Oh, Blizzard from above! Yeah. Lazy Titan throwing that one down, thinking they're an AC-130 with ice bombs or something. Oh, man.
But No Limits was able to win that fight. Good play by the Junkrat, able to force Lazy Titan up and just kind of shuts down that Blizzard, able to find the picks as well. But Ushi's daycare now going into this next fight, they're going to have 4 ultimates. No Limits doesn't really have anything. They may be able to build that Riptire though. But we'll see. Ushi's daycare probably just going to play fast with this amplification matrix. You want to get it before No Limits is able to get that checkpoint. Yeah, it looks like they're going to drop now. And they're going to be able to take a lot of space because No Limits is afraid of that window right here. They might just be able to take this next corner with it. I think that is exactly what they're going to be looking for.
Oh, and Nova's going to try to back up off it. And the Shatter comes down from empty. That found at least the supports in the back, but they're able to get back on their feet. Viby's going to go to throw in an Amp Matrix, and that was a fire strike through the window. 200 points of damage right on to Cholson's unsuspecting dome. Couple of swings. Third one will take E-Girl out of this, and Ushi's daycare win yet another fight. They still haven't managed to grab the lead here, though, Tim. I feel like they're winning fights, but they're not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, because No Limits is kind of saving this all. Now, Wink does get picked. This might give Ushi's daycare the advantage here. They're going to be able to get this cap point as well, so they're going to get better spawns. But
that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, it's huge. But the thing is, though, No Limits does have just significantly more ults than Ushi's daycare, so they're looking very good for this next fight. But what they've been trying to do is they've been trying to use these ults or No Limits has been using these ults later so that Ushi's daycare can't get that advantage. But now that they have it, I mean, they're just gonna have to use some ults here. Or without the immortality, it's gonna probably find the pick on Obo.
Oh, that was so close. They almost had Obo down, but the amplification matrix comes up just in time, and Ushi's daycare gotta respect the Bastion through that. No Limit's trying to steal the bot away. Nice block onto the Shatter as our 2 Reinhardts go toe-to-toe. Hammer to hammer. Blizzard now out. Obo has got a pin back and out, but Igor won't make it. Shenolson suffers a similar fate. A long distance pin finds Allen.
Yeah, I mean, very good. I mean, No Limits. Okay, so what they're trying to do, obviously, they're trying to take that point, but they have to do that such a long rotation there, and they kind of just get picked off by these ults. And Ushi's daycare was able to find value. And I know I kind of talked about No Limits had such a huge ult advantage going into that fight, but I mean, Ushi's daycare was able to build those ults up very quickly and was able to use them and win that fight. And now you're basically even on these ults. And Piper does get picked off. It does look like Ushi's daycare is gonna probably have to back out here. I do think that's what they're gonna try and do very soon.
I mean, they can't disengage. Might as well just die on cart here, right?
Yeah. It might get picked. Maybe Vibing could find a pick, but I do think you are kind of giving No Limits some of this, like a lot of PL charge. Oh,
gets the Bastion and the Reinhardt! Everybody goes down into the streets. Oh my goodness. Time to take a tour of Rome, friends. Allen will eventually pick up what E-Girl ends up off the side. I'm guessing that was a boot from Piper that just didn't show up. Actually, I don't... Yeah, there's Piper. It had to be a boot from Piper. It's going to pick up Wink as well. So it looks like that die on card philosophy actually working out here for Ushi's daycare. They've crossed 100 meters.
Yeah, Empty made the hero play of the game, able to force Obo and the Bastion on the side of No Limits to get off the map, and that kind of just helps them win that because even the odds, then you're taking a 3v3, and Ushi's daycare was able to win that. I mean, Vibing was able to get the value on the Reaper, Piper was able to get the boop, but now Ushi's daycare has a huge ult advantage. We'll see what this Bastion ult does though. Could kind of isolate them, maybe they find the picks, but looks like we might see a window come out soon as the immortality is forced.
Yeah, Allen making that swap and already a good window, but the Shatter is going to come down. That was a counter pin from Obo. Was exactly what that was from behind. Empty started to pin the shatter target, but Oboe gets the pin on them first. That was bizarre looking, but what a play. And now Oboe levels the playing field with another shatter of their own. Piper there to keep everybody alive and standing for the moment. Good shields. Eagle's able to get back behind cover. Another swing, but they get slowed down. Lazy Titan eventually finished off as Eagle is there with the Cheerios, and Oboe finds that kill on the Piper eventually. It's an overtime now, though. This is going to be at least 2 or 3 fights for No Limits if they want to take this map.
And we'll see who No Limits is going to have back. I do think they'll probably get everybody back. If not, they can use that window to kind of hold space. But they have to, yeah, they do have to basically win 2 fights here. And Ushi's daycare can
maybe 3. The bot's going to stop at the checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, and Ushi's daycare doesn't really have any ults though, so we'll see how No Limits wants to take this. If they can win this fight with just this amplification matrix, it could be very big, and it looks like it's going to force out the immortality, going to force Uchi's daycare to play a little bit further back. Maybe they're going to try and build their ults as well, but I mean, we have to see. If they can get a good fight here, it's going to be very tough though, because Ushi's daycare is going to be able to build ults eventually. Empty
is super low. They should be able to get that one. Yeah, Empty is going to fall. And Allen is very, very close here to that Blizzard. This is prime importance. Allen must stay alive and get this Blizzard up if No Limits is to have any hopes of taking the 40 meters necessary to win this map.
Yeah, and again, one of the key things there is that Wink only had to use that amplification matrix to win that fight, and now you're set up very good because Ushi's daycare is still at an ult disadvantage because of they used all those ults in that last, or the last fight or whatever, the fight before this one, and now No Limits, they have the Shatter, they have the Blizzard. I mean, they're actually set up pretty good to win this. I mean, they do have to win one more fight here, and it looks like Allen's going to use the Blizzard, and it's going to isolate this entire team of Ushi's daycare.
Oh, Lazy Titan didn't get the cryo freeze up. Sound barrier is here from Eagle. Shatter is down from Oboe, and that's going to pick up a pair. Good for 2. No Limits have to invest heavily here in this fight, but they've got another win under their belt, at least for now. Amplification Matrix kind of blocked by the wall. Was trying to core ball. The Blizzard is massive. It finds 4. Lazy Titan has to take 2 kills down by themselves because reinforcements are really lacking, and now it's just Lazy Titan left on this point. Reinforcements are starting to show up as Piper is back, but gets hammered off the wall. Janelson's able to take Titan out of this fight, but a wrecking ball here, and all the health that comes with it is on this point. With 2 kills already under their belt, it's tank versus tank in an overtime scenario, but No Limits just has so far to go and so little reinforcements to work with. This is looking almost impossible. Down to 29 health. Empty will not escape. Oboe is still alive and standing somehow. Oh, I spoke too soon. Warrior X will take them down. Eagle has fallen, and Ushi's daycare stopped TS1 10 meters shy of No Limits' dream, tying us up here in the grand finals.
I mean, yeah, the key thing there was that Blizzard window combo was able to find a lot of picks and force out so many abilities, and that kind of was win that rest of that because they get their better spawns, they are able to come back faster, they also make, the swap to the Wrecking Ball and swap to the Tracer was able to get back quickly. But, I mean, overall, though, I mean, again, a very close map, very good plays by both of those teams, and, I mean, it's hard to really, point out, one thing that really helps them win because there's so many things that they did and that were just able to help them win that. And one of the key things though is that they were able to win the fight to take that that advantage, and they were able to kind of do that because they found Wink early. They were able to find a huge pick on a Wink really early on in that fight before they were able to get the lead, and that helped them because I mean now you're down that window. They're able to win that fight without having to use an ult, and kind of helps sets them up for the rest of this map because they can kind of play defensively with their ults and play for their side of the their side of the map. But I mean overall, and also Empty makes the hero play of the game and able to find those picks and able to win that fight for their team essentially. But I mean, it was
that won the map for their team.
Yeah,
much less that. I mean, not just that fight, because I mean, it was less than 10 meters difference when it was all said and done. And Empty able to pull around that 4v5 when you're missing the Lucio, when you're missing the most crucial part of that rushdown composition is the speed. The speed is gone, and still Empty and the rest of Ushi's daycare are able to get it done in a 4v5 and got, I mean, right around 10 meters for their efforts, and they won by less than that. I mean, that move from Empty absolutely won on the map, and that's the difference between being tied up right now here heading into the break or being on championship point for your opponent of No Limits. So an incredibly crucial play from Empty, and man, it has put us in a phenomenal spot. Like I said, we're about to take 5, but this banger will continue. Who's going to take the edge? We're going to come back with map 5 in just a few. Well, we are all tied up. It was looking like one-way traffic after the first two maps. No Limits absolutely dominating on both Ilios and on Midtown. But holy cow, has the tables turned as Ushi's daycare Bossa and then took it there and on push and call us. What a tell.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, after those first two maps, it was looking like it was going to be pretty one-sided because especially after Midtown, it looked very, very heavily favoring No Limits. And I mean, you know, we just saw a huge comeback from the side of Ushi's daycare. They were able to get a lot. I guess it was maybe these map choices helped them out a lot. I do think it kind of fits a little bit more towards their style, especially the Flashpoint. They were able to run that at Junker Queen. They were able to get a lot of value from the kind of those individual characters and a lot of those, I guess I've been saying hero plays, which is more just like individual plays. But, and then we also saw on push, I mean, again, two major hero plays were able to win them that map. We saw the huge play on the side of the Reinhardt, able to charge two off the map and then able to win them that fight. And essentially that kind of sets them up to win the map. And then going into that last fight as well, we saw the Blizzard Amplification Matrix combo in a 4v2, which, you know, you would be think like in theory it's like, oh well, why don't you just wait for your team to get back and then at least you could take a 3v4 with those ults. But they were able to find the picks and they were able to kind of win that fight because of that, able to get better spawns as well because of how close their spawn was. And they were just able to win the fight there, and that was, you know, very, very key. And we'll see if these kind of hero plays, as I've been saying, are going to show up more, especially on these other maps. And I do think we have gotten our next map choice. We are going into the payload as well, and it looks like we'll be playing Circuit Royale. So this is, again, probably actually is going to favor some of those individual plays. You know, double snipers very, you know, it's mostly run. We usually see double sniper Sigma and then like a Bap Zen or a Baptiste Alari. And usually we see that, but I mean, maybe one of these teams is going to run the Reinhardt. Sometimes you can get away with a spawn hold, something aggressive like that, where you're able to just push in and kind of expect the other team to play that double sniper comp. So then if you run Reinhardt, you just walk at them and you get value that way. Probably would be a little bit harder to run on an attack unless you're running a sim TP and you're getting value from your teleports like that and able to get those fast rotations. But I do think on paper it does favor kind of more DPS matchups. And we'll be heading into the map very, very shortly. We'll see what both these teams want to run. I do think the Sigma, again, is probably more favored, and that's probably the reason why you take this map. And also, really, all of these escort maps are not really styles we've seen yet this series. I mean, it would have been Dorado or Junkertown, Circuit Royale, and the other one, I believe, was
Route 66.
Route 66, yeah, which are usually you're not going to see that brawl style just because of all the high grounds. It'd be so hard to push into. And we will see both these teams are going to be running the double sniper. I'm pretty sure Wink is just going to... Oh, they're going to play the Alari. So, no Baptiste, which is... You're going to lose a lot of that kind of... A lot of that sustain. You're going to lose so much healing because you don't have the burst, so you're not going to be able to burst heal your Zen, Hanzo, Sig when you're all stacked up together. You lose the immortality field too, which is going to be very big if you have to counter a Gravitic Flux and you don't have a... Transcendence, but I think Weak is probably just going to swap it. They are attacking, so they have the spawn right there. They're just able to swap to the Baptiste. But it looks like we are just going to see that double sniper Sigmir with the Babs then. Really it just comes down to who positions better, and obviously the DPS value is going to have to be very, very big, and we'll see. Yeah, Alan's just going to play the Hanzo. So we'll see how this first fight goes. It's going to be very hard. Obviously, just pushing into the Sig comp is going to be very difficult, so this is a very defensive-sided map, but we'll see if they can find, if No Limits is able to find good picks, especially running that Alari. I mean, you're able to do so much damage, very high damage output. I mean, maybe they'll be able to find the picks, maybe they'll be able to push that way, but we'll see how this first fight goes, and we'll see who wins.
Yes, we will. As this card's going around the corner, Ushi's daycare just going to sit up on the high ground, playing this very carefully. Not wanting to give any easy picks here on this first point and hold this corner for as long as possible, but well, Remix sticks their head out for a little bit longer than necessary, and Piper suffers the same fate, so both supports picked off right out of the gate, and Ushi's daycare apparently didn't play things as safely as maybe they should have.
Yeah, and really just looked like also No Limits was able to take so much space. Like, they were able to get all that space, and that kind of helped set up the DPS on the side of No Limits to get those picks because of how aggressively Obo was playing and what they were able to do. We also see No Limits, they swapped to the Baptiste Alari, so not going to be running that Zenyatta as they were initially running, and it looks like they were playing it most of that fight, and I just wasn't really paying attention, I guess, because they have pretty high ult charge. It looks like they're also going to get this first point very quickly because of that, you know, that last pick there at the end, and they're going to get set up on this high ground. So I mean, instead of Ushi's Daycare, your best bet running this Zenyatta into the Illari is you want to discord this Zig and then just walk and get all that value because you have Discord Orb and because you have that extra damage output onto the tank and onto the shield. You want to kind of force the tank of No Limits to play so scared, and Vibing finds a huge pick on a Olsen with that grapple shot, and it looks like they're just going to be able to play aggressively off of this, barring anybody else getting picked off on the side of Ushi's Daycare. But, you know, Alan has been very dangerous on that Hanzo, so we never really know.
Yep, both tanks are clashing here over the point, despite No Limits being down. They're not going to back all the way out. Alan has to hide next to that planner. Was very low. In fact, Lazy Titan dropped down to try to get that final blow. Even a couple of Hyperspheres thrown Alan's way, but they managed to stay on their feet. Immortality field used early, and Alan is able to strike back. Finds Vibing. Dragon's coming through across the amplification matrix of No Limits. They're able to just kind of scatter around and don't really even have to give up any ground because of it. The Matrix still able to buy a little bit of space at the very least. Alan playing off the side here. Of course, the Hanzo not able to maintain the pullback on that arrow while the climbing. So Alan not as good a position as they might once have been. Gravitic Flux coming through to seal things for the defense of Ushi's Daycare.
Yeah, a lot of good picks on the side of Lazy Titan. See, they should be able to clean this up, other than maybe Olsen finds a pig. Yeah, never mind, they're dead. But a lot of very good picks on the side of Lazy Titan as Wink does find Vibing. That's gonna let Ushi's Daycare, or not Ushi's Daycare, but No Limits take a lot of space early, as well as they also have the ults to do it. But we'll see, maybe Lazy Titan finds another pick. And really the key thing we're going to also be looking at, obviously we have to look at these DPS, right? Because they are going to be getting so much value in these mid fights, and anytime both these teams are playing neutral, where none of these ults are being used. But going in this next fight, No Limits, it looks like both teams are relatively even on ults. The Captive Sun's going to be very huge on the side of Wink. It's probably going to get countered by the Transcendence, but we'll see what goes on. Maybe Lazy Titan can force it out with the Dragon as well, and we are going to see the Dragon come out.
Captain Sun over the top combined with the Dragons, and yeah, not even Transcendence is going to keep you alive through that. Both of those just thrown directly onto Piper. And a worthy investment for the combo to take the Baptiste out, and you can see Wink starting to get aggressive. Goes all the way in to find that kill on a Vibing. Woohoo! And a nice little point-blank shot from Alan.
Yeah, it's going to clean up that fight. I mean, really good ult combo there. They were able to isolate No Limits, or not No Limits, they were able to isolate Ushi's Daycare with that Dragon, and then they were able to use that Captive Sun to kind of, kill Piper, who was the one that was split off, and as the rest of Ushi's Daycare was trying to back out. And now you're going to be seeing this next fight where no ults are really going to be in play. Maybe the amplification matrices are going to be coming up, as well as maybe the Gravitic Fluxes on both sides. Kind of depends how this poke fight goes. It looks like No Limits is going to try and take that high ground from Ushi's Daycare. We'll see how this goes. It's going to be tough to push into, especially going into that Zenyatta, and it might be peaking 5v6, but it looks like the Zenyatta is actually playing the low ground right now, so we'll see. Maybe a little easier for No Limits to take this, but it looks like Ushi's Daycare is just controlling it so well.
The Zenyatta's staying down low, so the Discorder wasn't in this fight, but with Vibing finding that first pick right around the corner, just finding that split second where Obo had the shield down, and it's enough for Ushi's Daycare to kind of make No Limits double guess, think twice about pushing up high, and now they're just trying to play this low ground corner. Obo's managed to get more Icks off of the cart, and they have actually rounded the corner. Ushi's Daycare now rotated back up high. No Limits just staying down low, and this card is starting to inch forward closer and closer to its final spot. Jumping back down, Empty is greeted by an Accretion and a Gravitic Flux. Get rid of the Immortality field, slide it down. One Empty is finished off, and well, the rest of the team falls around them.
Yeah, and I mean, Moririx just kind of gets picked off on that off angle. I mean, it's just kind of hard to really set up on that low ground as when you're the Zenyatta because of how easy it is for the other team to just walk on you and pick you, as we saw in that last fight. I think it kind of helped him in that first fight because Moririx was able to kind of scout the Widowmaker on the side of No Limits and kind of was able to help their own Widowmaker in that duel, and they were able to get the pick, and then it just helped Ushi's Daycare walk. But in that last fight, they just got walked on. They got forced out, and No Limits was also just able to play the point, able to force point. And I mean, yeah, we're seeing this Widow duel too. It's Vibing has just been doing very good, but really all these DPS have been doing good so far, especially Alan. Alan as Hanzo has been playing it like so far in the series, and Lazy Titan also has a huge play in this fight. But again, not to get sidetracked here, the DPS are super important in these comps, but we're also seeing good plays on the side of the support line as well, right? Really good ult usages, able to, other than that last point, we do see Moririx get a little forced out. Both these support lines have been, positioned relatively well, but we'll see what this next round is going to look like. It looks like Ushi's Daycare, are they going to run this Kiriko, Lucio, Winston? if they are doing this, it really comes down to either they have been scrimming this a lot for whatever reason, or they just don't feel like they are going to be winning this Sig duel because, I mean, they just gave up a 3-minute cap on Circuit Royale, which
I mean, that would
typically...
That would be quite a change, though. I mean, I can understand going changing up comp a little bit, but this is something we haven't really seen all day. I mean, pulling out a Winston, we haven't seen Winston in a hot minute.
Yeah, especially on this map. I mean, you just get poked out so early, but it really comes down to maybe you don't trust that style. Maybe you don't think you're gonna win this this kind of poke duel, and you're just gonna keep Chinolson or not. You're gonna keep vibing on the Widowmaker to keep Chinolson in check, but it's going to be very tough to actually get these dives set up because of how much poke you're going to be running into, and vibing is not really going to have any help in this sniper duel. So, I mean, it's going to be very tough to see, and maybe Ushi's daycare has a plan here. Maybe they can get isolations, and they do find the Zenyatta on the side of No Limits, and that's going to help them out. They're going to play a little bit slow. Maybe they can keep isolating people like that, forces out the immortality as well, but Empty just gets picked off, though.
Yeah, even without the Discord Orb, I mean, between the Widowmaker and the Hanzo, it's so much damage onto a Winston. 6 seconds, that cooldown time, the jump is more than enough for Allen to put a bunch of arrows into the side of that Winston. But Allen now making a swap onto a more traditional Winston counter.
Yeah, gonna swap to the Reaper just only to shut down Empty at this point. But again, we still have to look at this Widow duel because Vibing did just win it in that last fight. Empty's gonna try and maybe look. I mean, it's gonna be hard for Empty to really do anything because of that Reaper, and especially when the Zenyatta and Widowmaker are playing on the opposite high ground. Empty's just getting forced out, and the bubble's forced out. And it does not look like they'll be able to get engaged. They just have to kite out. But again, it's gonna be so tough. Vibing, if Vibing's able to find the tank, I mean, it makes it so much easier. It looks like they're just gonna be able to walk in for free now.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Now has the sights, which clear advantage over Chinolson up top. And it looks like the Winston Cup is working thus far. It was a great Suzer on the inside from more Rubik's. Denies any efficacy out of Allen's Reaper in those close quarters. And this is going to be first point picked up.
Yeah, and Vibing is just doing so much work on this Widowmaker, able to find a lot of key picks and just kind of force No Limits to play scared, right? I mean, they aren't able to poke out this Winston as much as they would like to because they're worried about Vibing finding the headshot. And I mean, now on the side of No Limits, though, they're going to have a lot of ults. It looks like Empty's going to swap to the Reinhardt, which I kind of do like because you're not going to get any value with the Winston. Everybody is playing so far back for you to get the dives that even if you do jump in, you're probably just jumping on the Reaper and you're just going to die. So swap to the Reinhardt. It's going to make it a little easier for them, especially because you're going to have that huge 1000 HP shield that's going to help protect you and help you walk in. But No Limits are going to have ults to kind of stop that. They have the Amplification Matrix is going to try and force out Empty. But we're seeing No Limits is getting a lot of space for free right now, and it looks like Empty's going underneath the Lucio, and they're going to run in on this backline right here.
Oh, Allen was looking for a place to use that Death Blossom, but it looks like Ushi's daycare are going to pull the trigger first as the Kitsune Rush goes all the way into the back. And, oh, the pin will finish off Weak, and Allen never found a good spot to rescue.
Yeah, that was also a really smart rotation instead of Ushi's daycare. They don't take really any of that poke damage before going in. They're able to just walk in with that Kira goal. Kind of caught No Limits, by surprise. And now Vibing's going to swap to the Echo. This is a very interesting pick because I don't know if you're going to really be able to get good angles in this inside portion. As Chinolson's going to swap to the Hanzo too. I mean, that was going to be one of the things that was going to shut down Vibing on this Echo. But we'll see. No Limits does have 4 ults. They might be able to get a good recontest if they're able to touch, and they're going to touch with Transcendence.
Woo! That was close. That was close. Having to use the Transcendence for it. The Sound Barrier does land just before the Gravitic Flux is able to connect. And Vibing finding some value out of that Echo. Death Blossom finally unleashed here, but the shield is good, and the Shatter is better as No Limits actually managed to get some kills through the Gargantuan Shatter from Empty. All attention now turned on to Oboe, but the heals have been absolutely spectacular, and the sustain unbreakable here from No Limits.
Yeah, the Shatter was huge, but Wink is just able to keep the Zenyatta from No Limits alive through that entire time because of they were just able to hard pocket them, and then it allows Oboe to find value onto that backline, able to get those direct hits, able to find those picks. And Ushi's daycare, they're still running the Echo. I mean, Vibing did get a lot of value. They have their ultimate now. Lazy Titan swaps to mid, which has been looking very good for them when they're running these Ryan comps. So, I mean, honestly, this could be very good for them if they can get a good rotation going, but Moririx might get picked out right now. Has to use their regenerative burst, but I mean, we'll see, because neither team really has ults other than Vibing's duplication. So, see how this next fight goes. They might try and play aggressive with it, force out the immortality already, and splits this Sigma. It's not looking very good for them.
You can just tell by the way Empty was building up to that, like had a bit of runway coming up, got some speed, and just unleashed on Oboe. It almost felt like the further and faster you got there, the more damage Empty was going to do. That's how that looked to me.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, and also a big duplication by Vibing. I think they kind of used it to stay alive, though. It looks like they were trying to take that off angle and then probably got forced out. Go to the Hanzo, they're able to find the pick, and then they're just able to win off of that, able to help push into because of a huge wall, too, on the side of Lazy Titan, able to split the Sigma off. Now that looks like they're running the Orisa, going to try and sustain these engages more, and it looks like they're going to be opting for this brawlier comp with this Orisa Bastion again, and probably kind of set up the Zen on some kind of off angle, get value from that. So that kind of constant pressure. Also, discording empty is going to be huge too. It's going to stop his engages, but they also they're going to split up this Orisa, but it's going to be hard to kill them. And it uses the immortality too. It looks like they're not going to die, and the window comes out.
Orisa just has so many good cooldowns to counter what May wants to do. So Obo pretty fearless about holding this corner, particularly with the amplification matrix up. Empty is sitting at about 100 health. Wow, that wall just saved their life. That energy javelin would have sent Empty into the depths below, and the wall comes up just in the nick of time. Now Allen is down, and Ushi's daycare. They have an opening that they have got to take advantage of.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and teleport to this other high ground and probably kill the Zen Hanzo. Oh, but Vibing gets picked off as he's looking for it. They do get the teleport, and they are going to find Wing and the Zenyatta on the side of No Limits, so it still is very huge. Huge shot from Chen Olsen, but it doesn't really look like it's going to help out that much because they lost their support line. But
well, it's a split second late, right? The teleport's already down, and Vibing's job was done. Yeah, they would want to be there with their team to help clean up, but Empty and the two supports are able to just mow through that high ground, and though the time is less than No Limits to put up, there's still a lot to work with, and Ushi's daycare have made a nice rotation around the outside. No Limits are matching it, wheels down from the Bastion, pouring in damage from across the way, but Ushi's daycare are able to take some cover behind these pillars. Now with the sound barrier, they're going to get aggressive, but Eagle, who is able to drop her sound barrier, the Transcendence, and No Limits are staying right here on top. The Shatter's going to pick up 3, though! Empty says you're on top, I will lay you on your backs. The Blizzard is there, won't hold Obo, but as soon everybody else is down and the Terror Surge falls on deaf ears, Allen is able to grab one, but it's not going to stop this cart from moving, and the swap comes in just before the Dragons might have actually done some damage, but reinforcements are here. This Tracer might be too difficult. The recall is out, the tags are starting to come through, the Suzu is down, and Eagle, who was able to stay alive. No Limits stagger out perfectly to stop this cart, and they're able to start getting reinforcements back here. This is going to get messy real quick with Empty falling down. Ushi's daycare might not get the job done on this one.
Yeah, and Obo, oh man, Obo gets a 3K at the end. And yeah, a really good recontest on the side of Chen Olsen, was able to stay alive long enough for the rest of the team to come back. But there was also a lot of these picks that they were able to find, you know, as the fight went on. They were able to use Terror Surge to get one pick, and really they were trading like an ult for a pick, and that kind of helps them out because in that recontest it was only Empty and Piper that were on cart. And going into this next fight, Ushi's daycare only has this you know, the Symmetra wall. No Limits doesn't have anything though. They had to make a lot of swaps, they had to use a lot of ults to win that last fight, so Ushi's daycare is at the advantage, and they might be able to build some of these ults mid-fight, depending on how they do, but it looks like they are going to use the Symmetra wall now, and they're going to try and walk in and see what they can do.
Photon Barrier, very powerful against this composition of No Limits. Gotta get some kills on the back of it, though. This is a huge advantage. Ushi's daycare, you need to find something with it. Finally, the teleport comes in, and Vibing is able to push into the back. Looking to isolate Allen off of this outside. Obo is taking a lot of damage as well, but the Suzu is there. Obo remains standing, but Allen does not. Matrix now up for Ushi's daycare in a 4v4. Sound Barrier comes in as well. Still, Obo is on all 4 feet and holding this cart down. Nobody seems to get close. Empty has come up on yet another Shatter, looking for somewhere to use it, but there's a Terror Surge there. Everybody shuts it back out. Morix dies despite having the Immortality field up. Obo was able to get Lazy Titan as well, and No Limits will deny Ushi's daycare the 3rd point, stopping the F1 card shy in the hotel. No Limits going up to championship point, taking Circuit Royale.
Yeah, Ushi's daycare just wasn't able to force Obo out, able to sit there that entire time getting pocketed by that Baptiste, and it also allowed their DPS to get a lot of value over time because they were not really getting pressured, and that's what really helped them on that 3rd point. They were able to get their Bastion set up on an angle, they were able to get their Baptiste set up on an angle, they were just able to get value over time with that, and it just made it so hard for Ushi's daycare to try and walk in because they had to take so much damage to get in. The only times they were able to actually get a good engage going was when they used that beat, and they were able to walk in like that because you have less fears because you're not going to get melted down as quickly. But I mean, overall though, it was pretty good. It was a very good map again because we got to see a lot of adjustments get made, right? we saw Empty swap over to that Reinhardt. They ran this Brawl style and it helped them out so much. And I know I kind of talked about before the map that none of these maps really favored Brawl, but I guess it really doesn't matter. Empty's going to play Reinhardt whenever Empty wants. So, you know, it looked very good for them, but this third point was just so tough, and you also lost so much time early on in the map that it made it just a lot tougher to really get value from in that third point, just because you had to walk in. I mean, Obo was also able to get so much value too. And again, also huge swap on the side of No Limits. They swapped to that Orisa. They were able to hold back this Brawl on the side of Ushi's Daycare, and it just looked very good for them. Good adjustments on the side of both teams that we saw. So, you know, going into this next map, we are. Let me bring up. Do we know the map type already? It is Control. So, depending on the map, I don't necessarily know the map choices off the top of my head, but some of these can be pretty good for that Reinhardt, which. Again, Ushi's Daycare, if they want to run, we have seen that they like that Rein duel. They're able to win that Rein duel. It's very comfortable for them. They look good on the Reinhardt comps. So they probably are going to choose a map that is going to fit that Reinhardt style, depending on what map choices there are for Control. I don't know off the top of my head. But if they get a good Reinhardt one, we could see us going to our map 7, you know, very shortly, depending on how this next map goes. But No Limits is no slouch. They're going to have ways to counteract that. They're going to find comps that they feel are comfortable. That Orisa looked very good. That Orisa Bastion looked very good for them. I think it's probably something they are going to do to counter this Reinhardt a little bit more. And I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see this next map, because we have been seeing both these teams make adjustments over time, and it's been making this interesting, making this a very interesting series.
Indeed, we do have that map pick coming in. As your question, the options were Oasis or Busan. And it looks like Ushi's Daycare have chosen the former, as we have Oasis here for map number 6. Now, I mean, University, you know, certainly you got some opportunities here, but other than, I mean, it's gonna be interesting past that. Like once we get into Gardens, and like it's gonna be interesting and see what maps are brought out. I don't know if we'll stick with the Reinhardt Orisa matchup, but it certainly worked well for No Limits in that. Do we go back to the Junker Coin? We saw plenty of that.
Yeah, and that looked very, very good for Ushi's Daycare as well. It looked good for both these teams, but Ushi's Daycare was able to get that. They were able to win that map when they were able to take that Junker Queen mirror. So I do think this is overall a pretty good map choice for Ushi's Daycare, because you obviously you get the inside point where you're able to run that Reinhardt very effectively, and it's going to be a very good matchup for you. But even on the more open point, you know, the one that has all the high ground, we usually see a lot of dives get ran there. I do think the Junker Queen's also very good. And we are going to see No Limits. Oh, well, we'll see if they actually do want to run on this comp. Same thing with Ushi's Daycare. We've seen them run the Orisa, but I mean, the Orisa Baptiste Alari, again, something we used to see on the old patch. More teams have been opting for different comps now, just because of certain buffs that have come out, like the Zarya buff and the Junker Queen buff, or Junker Queen change. I mean,
oh, it's a buff.
Yeah, it really is a buff. Yeah, I mean, it's very good. But I mean, we'll see what these teams want to run out on. If Empty does want to run the Zarya, or wants to run this Orisa, we'll see how it goes into the Zarya, because they're going to be bubbling Chinolson a lot. It's going to be very aggressive. It's going to be a very aggressive style of play. But Ushi's Daycare is going to try and play a little bit slower, get more value in these neutral fights, as well as getting value from vibing on the Sojourn, which we have seen them do, you know, time and time again in this series, able to get a lot of picks. As it looked like No Limits is going to control the high ground and control the point first.
Yeah, unfortunately, playing slower means Ushi's Daycare has to yield this all-important high ground. But importantly, that doesn't matter to vibing, as they're able to pick Cholson off, and Empty, I'm guessing, send an energy javelin onto Eagle off the side, and now is up there with the spinning javelin. And that is enough. The Orisa starting off strong here for Ushi's Daycare.
Yeah, I do believe I heard Lucio's screams as he was falling down, but I mean, yeah, very good. I mean, overall, very good plays. Vibing was able to get the pick off early. It kind of sets him up for the rest of the fight. Empty, obviously, able to get that energy javelin. And now No Limits is going to swap to the Orisa Baptiste Alari mirror. They're going to get the Hanzo Bastion. It really is come to that point. Vibing is going to stay find more re-rates. No Limits good for the fight.
Yep, this fight is already over. As No Limits just stormed onto this objective, and Obo comes up with another big fight.
I think this fits Limits comfort more. I think that they've been running a lot more at what we've seen.
You've gone a bit robotic there, Telm. Let's see if we can give a Discord a second to see if it might stabilize there for you. But yeah, we are still in the neutral here. No ult yet to speak of, as we get a pause called. Hey, what do you know? That'll give us a chance to iron out some of our audio issues. Oh, Obo's getting ping issues as well. So it looks like this is just kind of universally internet just decided to go wonky. And I don't know, maybe solo casting at this point. I don't even know if y'all can hear me. I'm gonna keep going like y'all can hear me as we're staring at this pause screen, and I'm waiting for my caster to come back. So far, it's a pretty even start here as we get back to talking about the game. I mean, we're looking at, Old Charge is pretty even on both sides. Both teams been able to win one fight apiece. No Limits will be able to catch up in charge, or in percentage, rather, by the time this fight ends, barring they just give away the point for free at the very beginning. So far, it's deadlocked starting things off on Oasis, which is, it's a good sign for Ushi's Daycare. Thinking back to map 1, it was a pretty dominant performance here on Ilios by No Limits. I was concerned. I was concerned about Ushi's Daycare coming into Control. Thought maybe heading into this, we're going back into Control Hybrid. The two map types that No Limits were head and shoulders above on. We saw that fantastic play from Wink. And then the only summer we've seen on the day, this was Lazy Titan's biggest play of the day so far, was this 4K EMP in the beginning. But unfortunately, that was really the only highlight we saw from Ushi's Daycare there on map 1. Then as we take a look at Midtown, this one was equally as one-sided, unfortunately, for Ushi's Daycare. But this is where they started to bring it back. Suravasa, this is where the momentum changed drastically in this series, and we have been pretty darn tight ever since.
Yeah, I'm back now. We're all here. Back now, able to see the game. We're doing good now. But yeah, it's been a very close series overall. We've seen a lot of good plays by both these teams, and I do think some of these kind of map wins have come down to kind of the map style and how they've actually kind of thought of the map and how it works. Rather than just kind of individual plays. If you get what I'm trying to get at, kind of like right with. I do think they just had a better understanding of Flashpoint, and as well as push, they were able to win certain fights that were just so important. Rather than they won every fight. It was winning the important fights, which is much more important at this point. So
well, I felt even on push, it by my eye test, felt like Ushi's Daycare was winning the majority of the fights, but No Limits was doing a really good job with the bot management, and so Ushi's Daycare was getting like 10 meters or less from some of these fight wins. So I'm willing to bet that the elims were a lot higher for Ushi's Daycare there on Coliseo, but No Limits, they stayed in it by just smart bot control. But in the end, Ushi's Daycare did end up winning that map, and that's where they tied the series, and it's been real interesting ever since.
Yeah, and again, just very good play overall. And we are in our finals. This is kind of the last game. A lot of these teams are probably going to play with each other. So you're going at it very, very strong. And finals, you get different energy. It's just overall like a different feel when you're in some of these important games. As we are back into the game, both teams are back. And No Limits is that it's going to be very hard to push into this defense that they have set up, because you're going to have to try and push past Obo, and even if you do, you have to watch out for Allen, you have to watch out for Janolson, but it looks like Empty found Janolson with this energy javelin again. He just has the lineups going.
There's another one!
And helps him win, and another one.
That way, I think they landed on the mini, though. That one didn't go into the drink. But Obo in a lot of trouble here. 45 already used. The spinning javelin now used, and there's just no cooldowns left. And it's going to be a Terror Surge coming out. Now he gets caught in that one. Obo is super low as well. Just can do nothing but watch their friends fall around them.
Yeah, and oh man, this huge plays by this Orisa here. We have Empty's been hitting these, and overall they've had a good series. The Reinhardt, they've been looking very good, but I do think also that second energy javelin, I do think it was on the Hanzo, and then they were just able to kind of jump back up, because
yeah.
I think that's what it was. But overall, still very good. Kind of forces out the abilities, able to get the pick later on. And now going into this next fight, Ushi's Daycare, they have 4 ultimates. No Limits is also going to be coming up on 5 of their own. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. If they can use their ultimates early, then they might be able to kind of snowball this point. But we'll see what goes on. It looks like No Limits is going to try and take this high ground. They're going to probably use their ults from there.
She's going to pull the trigger. Captive Sun first. Up to the high ground goes No Limits, and the Sun is up there to greet him. Landed on Shenolson, who's somehow able to survive. The blade is there. Shenolson eventually goes down, but the Terror Surge from Obo is able to equalize. Now Wink is going to throw in a Captive Surge of their own. That one, just gets absolutely denied by Vibing. There with the overclock. It's a 3-piece for Vibing once again here on the Sojourn.
Yeah, Vibing on the Sojourn has been so strong. They've been able to get so much value throughout all of these maps, and especially there, they're able to kind of clean up this map. And No Limits probably does get a touch, but it's not going to be a very good fight for them. They do have the ultimates, though. If they're you know, their players are able to get back, and it looks like Obo's going to be able to touch the point, and there comes Smash, and Allen finds a huge pick on a Vibing to get this fight started.
But No Limits are going to have to do this without their Baptiste. Allen falls back towards that healing pylon, but eventually will get taken out. Lazy Titan there to clean up Obo, and this is going to be Yushi's Daycare taking our first round on Oasis, and one step closer, sending us to that elusive map 7.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard for No Limits to get that last touch there, but I mean, it really came down to that huge ult fight that we saw. You know, ults were coming out back and forth, and it looked like Ushi's Daycare was just able to kind of get that last one. A huge pick from Lazy Titan, able to find the Baptiste and get the Hanzo to 1 health. And Empty was also getting these energy javelins. Again, it comes down to a lot of the individual plays that they're able to make too. You know, whether it's with the ultimates or just their abilities, they're able to find a lot of value individually, and that's been helping them out throughout this entire series. I mean, they've been looking very good. But we're gonna go on to this next point. We'll see, because if it's the inside point, they could be in an advantage again, because they are gonna get this brawl matchup style, and it looks like it will be the inside point. Ushi's Daycare looks like they're gonna be keeping this Arista. They're gonna be just trying to hold Obo at bay as he's trying to walk in as this Reinhardt. But we'll see what kind of value they're gonna get. Allen's gonna swap over to the Mei off of the Hanzo, so they're gonna be playing off these walls, playing around Obo a little bit more. But Ushi's Daycare hasn't really made any changes at all, so they really trust this comp, and I think it is gonna help them out a lot if they're able to find, if Vibing's able to find the value that they like, and it looks like they're doing a lot already. But
God, look how fast No Limits is playing, though. No Limits is already at Ushi Daycare spawn. Like, they're already on their side. They've circled back onto the objective now after finding that first pick, knowing that they can just plant themselves on this objective. Janolson did fall. I think Vibin popped him from up top. And Obo is going off the side, but a little boop sends Empty down there with an Eagle, making sure that everything is even Stevens here. Well, I say that. At least making sure that No Limits gets the point. Even Stevens as far as trades are concerned.
Yeah, and you were right. I mean, No Limits just played so much faster, able to find the pick early onto Piper, and then able to take that high ground. And that's really what they're going to be looking at. They don't want Ushi's Daycare to take these longer fights, because Vibing on that Sojourn is so dangerous, able to get so much value in these longer fights. But aside of No Limits here, if they can take these quick fights, get value from the fact that they have their Reinhardt, they can play around that shield, they should be set up pretty well. But I mean, Empty is going to be able to hold them back. The Maywall doesn't really find the value they would like, and it looks like somebody's already set up on that off angle. So we'll see. It looks like they're just going to be holding the space here, but Wink already has this window, so it could be assigned to engage.
Lazy Titan's poking from that outside. Started using the deflection. Vibing is trying to pincer in from the other way. So Obo and No Limits, kind of feigned like they wanted to push up, but thought better of it. You didn't have to use that immortality field early just to ensure there's no fatalities there. Vibing still just sitting here unwavering with the overclock, but it's a Captain Sud from Morelix that really kicks this thing off. But the return fire is there. A couple of haymakers from both sides, and Ushi's Daycare find themselves on top as far as player advantage.
Yeah, I mean, just really good plays overall. Ushi's Daycare able to use that Captain Sun, able to get some value from that. Now, No Limits looking at their ults. It looks like they're going to have everything coming up, and Ushi's Daycare also has 4 ultimates of their own, which is, I feel like this is something we've seen already. I mean, it looks like Ushi's Daycare is just also going to be able to use these ults first again. We'll see how this next fight goes. Looks like No Limit's going to try and take this high ground, force the Sojourn off, and at least force the slide, but they have their ults. They can use the window up here. We'll see what they want to do, though. It looks like they are going to try and play aggressive with that window, though. Maybe use that Blizzard as well. We'll see how this next fight goes, though. As Piper gets picked off early, and it doesn't look like they're going to need to use any of these ults.
Yeah, Ushi's Daycare just kind of split up all over the point, scattering to the wind, trying to create a horseshoe around this objective, but No Limits recognizes it, and they all just rush down. Who was that? Morelix immediately. Or was it Piper? I think it was Piper. They all just rushed down Piper right out of the gate, and then it's just one by one.
Yeah, and a very good target focus on the side of No Limits, just all able to commit onto that and able to get that pick. And now they have 5 ults to hold this point. I mean, on paper they should win this, but we'll see what Ushi's Daycare is able to do if they're able to use their ults effectively. And it looks like we're going to see a huge ult.
Oh, the blade! Oh my goodness, that somebody was there just in time. Everybody was bunched up and so low. I thought Lazy Titan was about to get a quad kill with one swipe, but the sound barrier is there just in the nick of time, and No Limits are going to hang on, looking to send us on over to City Center. Yeah, we might get a touch from this Tracer.
We'll see. It looks like Vibing might be able to get... Yeah, they're dead. I don't know if we'll be able to see a good retest, and yeah,
Nope.
Yeah, it's... I mean, overall, though, No Limits was able to save all their ults for that huge fight. Huge beat drop that was able to keep them alive through that ult, and they were able to use the immortality field, able to use their own ults to find picks as well. Really helps them out And now we're going to be going into this last point, which is not very, you know, brawl favored, right? I don't know if we're going to see these styles. I think it could work if you can play it correctly, if you can kind of hug the mega health pack towards the cars. If you can play around there, I think the brawl is going to be able to get some value. You can kind of hold point 2. You don't have to commit everybody on the point. You can just put your tank there and then hard pocket them. We'll see what No Limits wants to do. I mean, we did just see a Winston, I believe. And please don't tell me I'm gone.
No, you're still here. I still got you at least.
Oh, thank God.
I think we just had a little tech issue in front of us, but I mean, after Circuit Royale, nothing is going to surprise me.
Yeah,
After seeing a Winston there, I'm honestly not shocked. Like, it actually makes sense on City Center.
Yeah, it actually does, but it's not going to be Ushi's Daycare running. It's going to be No Limits now, and they're also going to be running the Echo Mercy, which should be getting a lot of value if you can kind of stay out of the support LOS on the side of Ushi's Daycare, because those supports are going to be the ones that are going to be killing you. But Obo is able to get engaged going. It looks like they might find this Baptiste.
Oh, but it is just Kiriko heals to keep Obo alive as they try to push and pull into the back line. Ooh, Lazy Titan overstepped there. Yeah, you can't deflect that Tesla cannon. And up onto the high ground goes Obo. Finds Piper up there, and a wave of sticky bombs landed on him as well. All of Ushi's Daycare is trying to retreat out towards this street side. They do manage to get out without losing any more casualties, but they have to get up the point to do it.
Yeah, we'll see if No Limits is still going to be able to find these dives, and looks like Moririx finds the pick on an Allen, and we'll see. Maybe they might be able to win this scrappy fight, but it looks like No Limits is going to get forced out, and Shen might die here, doesn't have any abilities to get out. Yeah, they're going to get picked by Lazy Titan. The Wink gets very low, but is able to get out safely. Oh.
Good recognition from Ushi's Daycare, just that, hey, we just need to push forward. Like, don't be afraid. We have the sustain advantage. Let's take advantage of it and just fearlessly walk forward.
Yeah, especially because you're running that Orisa, and I mean, Obo's not going to really be able to dive through you. I mean, the only way Obo's going to be able to find dives is if you let them get all this time to set up and then let them get these off angles and split you up just a little bit so that Obo's able to get that dive. But if you're able to walk in together as a team, you're able to get that value. Now, Moririx has the Captive Sun for this next fight. Could be very huge, especially because there's no way really. I mean, No Limits does have the cleanse, does have the Suzu, but it looks like they're going to be looking for it right now. It might be able to get some good value.
Rix over the top, drops it to the corner. Don't think that got anyone. Obo trying to go back in. Well, Rix is just going to use the outburst to get out of there. Here comes Obo trying to pursue, and will eventually find that kill. Now attention turned on to Vibing and Piper. Lazy Titan here watching from above with the katana ready to be pulled. Dashes through Shen and able to get that one reset. Obo's going to pop the Primal Rage, and the blade comes out from Titan in response. And Matrix now here to try to finish what Lazy Titan had started, but Obo is still dancing around. Terrorist tries to pull out Lazy Titan. Picks up back-to-back kills, including that Mercy, and that is enough. This one goes down to 1v1 on the tank. Empty. The lone hero left standing when the dust settles.
I mean, that fight just got so chaotic, and it looks like, I mean, Ushi's Daycare was just able to sustain through it, able to group up during that mid-fight, able to sustain together, as No Limits wants to, you know, split them up, but now No Limits, they have all these ults. So, in theory, this is going to be a good fight for them, but Vibing also has the overclock. They might be able to find the value if early on if they're able to get this ult ready, but Wink might be able to use their ult first, and it looks like they're going to try and drop off the high ground with it if they're able to keep Obo alive.
Last chance for No Limits on this map, and Obo is going to get popped out of the sky. The Consumer Rush is not going to keep you alive through the overwhelming damage from Vibing, and once again, they find a huge multi-kill with this Aura. Give them the 5th. Come on, you want the ace. Go get the ace. Will not get the ace, but you get the map win, and that's just as good.
And as I said, Vibing was able to find the value with their overclock, able to kill 3 and then get another, I think, outside of the overclock, and then almost got that last one too. But, I mean, it was very good by Ushi's Daycare. They controlled the tempo with this Orisa style so well. They were able to kind of shut down No Limits' engages, as well as in these more chaotic fights, they were able to survive. Empty Forces, oh my god. Able to find 2 off the map there. And, I mean, it was very good play. This Orisa actually looks very good for them. I don't recall seeing it before this map that much, but I mean, hey, Empty's a very good player, able to find a lot of value. And overall, though, it's just been a very good for Ushi's Daycare on that last map. And now we're going to be going into a huge map 7, obviously match point. You know, it's going to be No Limits pick, so they might choose something that's a little bit more comfortable to them. But I mean, overall, though, it's been a very, you know, back and forth series. So I mean, I can't really predict who's gonna win. I have no clue, so it's gonna be very interesting to see. It's gonna be very close, and I'm very, very excited.
at the bare minimum, at least 4 environmental kills that we're aware of from Empty during that last map. Oh, and what a performance from Empty, Vibing, and the rest here to pull us all the way through to this upcoming final deciding tiebreaker map. It will be on Hybrid. There is actually still a potential to send us to a map 8, but Midtown went handily in favor of No Limits, and I mean one of the fastest maps I've ever seen. Got to give them a slight edge as we head into this final map. It's coming up after a break. We promised you a banger, and we have delivered. Well, I say we, and by we, I mean Ushi's Daycare and No Limits, taking us all the way to a deciding Map 7 here in your EU Masters Grand Finals. And holy cow, it is... I don't even know what to think anymore. Like, we have taken this script, thrown it up, burned it, put it through the shredder. It does not exist anymore. It is in another dimension. There's no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such an insane series. We've seen so many great plays, and I mean, just... obviously, in the first 2 maps, again, we've talked about it before, but we thought this series could have been over after 4, but now we're going into map 7, and maybe we'll see a map 8, but not going to get ahead of myself. We have to see a draw, but, you know, I mean, going into King's Row here, this is a map that favors really both of these team styles. They both like running this brawl style, and they've both seen a lot of success on it, so... I mean, it really comes down to what specific characters they decided to run. Might see the Reinhardt duel, we might see an Orisa duel. It's going to depend on what these teams are feeling. But overall, though, it has looked very, very good for both sides when they're running the brawl comps. So I think we are going to be in tune for a very good 7th map here. And I mean, it's going to be obviously it's going to be deciding the series. We're going into match point. This is the most important map of the series, and you know. We're gonna see. We're gonna be getting into this map very shortly, I do believe. But in the meantime, I mean, looking at both these teams, we have seen a lot of great plays, obviously. But one of the most important things that I think we're going to see here is going to be the DPS play again. Vibing. We'll see if Vibing wants to run this Sojourn. We'll see kind of what they decide to run. We'll see if No Limits is gonna run that Bastion again. But I think looking more into it too, we have to look at the tank duel, because we've seen great plays by both these tanks, and especially on brawlier comps, it usually is going to be dependent on who is doing better on tank or who's getting more value on tank. But it looks like we're going to be heading into our King's Row very shortly, going into our 7th map, match point, and it's going to decide our champion for this tournament. And I mean, going in this last map, we'll see what they want to run. No Limits is going to run out on this Orisa, Bastion, Hanzo, which we have seen them find a lot of success on. And Ushi's Daycare is going to run the Reinhardt, Reaper, Mei, which they've also seen a lot of success on. So, really, this map is going to showcase probably the 2 best comps we've seen from both of these teams. And it looks like Obo, maybe they're going to play the Reinhardt. They are a pretty good Reinhardt. The Orisa is also very good. See what they want to do here, but I mean, really, I mean, this is going to be kind of the clash of the style, or clash of the comps that have seen most success in this game. And I mean, I'm very excited. We're going to be in tune for some very, very good Overwatch, and we'll see how this first map goes. It looks like Chernolson's gonna, never mind, they are gonna swap to the Bastion again, and yeah, we're gonna see this brawl style. We'll see how this goes in this first fight.
So what I find most important here is, I mean, No Limits just dominated on the other hybrid map that we saw, but, you know, Ushi's Daycare has been really good in this brawl matchup, and Obo coming out on this Orisa. Got caught by the wall, but is able to use that fortify and stay alive through the initial onslaught. Bobby's going to work around to the outside, make sure there's no flankers coming up the top, as it was Wink that was trying to go up that direction. Meanwhile, Obo is trying to go through Hotel, and No Limits just trying to tackle this point from all different directions, and it seems to be working, especially when Allen is able to take down 2. Sight's now set onto the Lucio. We'll find that one, and 1 and done for No Limits on point A.
Yeah, Allen on this Hanzo was just so dangerous. Able to find a lot of value over time, able to get those huge picks to clean up that fight. And now Ushi's Daycare, they're going to swap to... Okay, they're going to swap to Mercy. Oh no, okay, they're going to go Bapillari. They're going to go okay, so they're going to go the Orisa comp. They're going to go the Bapillari, Orisa, Sojourn, Genji. Basically completely swapped everything. But you put Vibing on the Sojourn, which has seen so much success. I thought we would see it again at some point, and here we are. No Limits is going to obviously stay on this comp. They saw some success. Allen's going to be building up this Dragon, and I mean, we'll see what's going to go on here. MP's shown a very good Orisa, but they're going against Obo. It's going to be a tough duel, and you have to watch out for Chernolson's going to get so much value with these Bastion forms, but going to force him back, and now we're kind of just going to see the neutral go on.
Yeah, all eyes are up on that window, and Obo knows it. The threat coming from Vibing on high has been an absolute powerhouse all day long, but Dragons to buy some space, and it's the green light for No Limits to try to push through. Let's see if they can get the space. Allen wants to go up to the high ground to try to challenge Vibing, ends up backing on down. Our 2 tanks just peppering down at each other. Obo was going to make a move, wanted to move up to that next corner, thought better of it when they realized that Vibing was down low and holding that spot alongside Empty. But with this amplification matrix, No Limits will eventually be able to purchase this precious real estate. They've got Ushi's Daycare now caught in a corner. They're able to pick up a pair of kills. Spinning Javelin to take Piper out of their immortality field. The Javelin misses there, but follow-up shots on point. And No Limits continue to dominate as they win another fight.
Yeah, and No Limits was able to just buy so much space with these ultimates. They were able to take that first corner with that dragon, and were able to force Ushi's Daycare to play so far back, and then they were able to use that window to take the next one, able to find the picks and win that fight. Which, I mean, No Limits, they've been showing a lot of very good ult usage, and now going into this next... Oh, Lazy Titan gets picked off. That's very bad, and it looks like Ushi's Daycare is going to have to play even further back, give up even more space. And No Limits, they have 3 ultimates, and if they can use these right, they can get a lot of space here, but this third point's so tough to play as an attacker, especially when Ushi's Daycare is going to be able to build these ults. It looks like the fight's going to go on. Both support ults are going to come out on Ushi's Daycare.
Vibing was dancing around inside that mega room. Woo! Morks is able to find one late, the very back of the captive side. We get one of those detonations, and it's a couple of kills finally going in Ushi's Daycare favor. Piper does fall. Defense is not out of hot water just yet, but they do manage to pull through despite losing their Baptiste.
Yeah, and well, the thing is though, also No Limits didn't use any ults there. Ushi's Daycare had to invest both the support ults, and now you're going into a it's going to be a 3 versus 3 right now in terms of the ults, and it's going to be, I mean, I think it might favor Ushi's Daycare just because they have the space right now, and especially Vibing with that overclock, but it looks like he's getting forced out, and it's going to be a neutral fight. We're probably going to see the Captive Sun come out though on the side of Wink, might be able to find a lot of value. Looks like they're going to look for it right now.
But Obo is just running right into the backline with horse blinders on. Wink drops the Captive Sun. And we finally get some ults starting to get used from this offense. Lazy Titan was kept at bay by the immortality field, and Obo has maintained this very aggressive positioning. Now trying to pursue the supports around back. In fact, that was just Moryrix that was just running for their life. And No Limits now have their sights all the way on the spawn doors. Reticle's looking to keep Ushi's Daycare at bay, and this cart has not stopped just now towards the end, but it's going to be a Terror Surge to try to escort it all the way home. That's going to give a lot of damage under the Baptiste, but the immortality field kept them alive. Piper stayed alive through all of that. Now here comes Obo back for seconds, but Allen falls in the back and Obo has to step away.
Vibing is able to find 2 huge picks, 3 able to clean up that fight, and that was just a very long fight, but it also, you have to look at the ultimates that got forced out. No Limits used 3 ults, and going into that fight, I was kind of expecting that No Limits would be able to clean it out because they had 4 ults compared to Ushi's Daycare's 1, but Ushi's Daycare was able to kind of play it a little slow, get Vibing that social, and Lazy Titan able to find the pick onto the Baptiste of No Limits. Gonna kind of stall No Limits now. They only have the Bastion ult, and Ushi's Daycare is gonna be able to build both those support ults again. I mean, that was just a tough fight to lose because you had the ult advantage, and now you're going to be down on ults for probably the next 2, maybe 3 fights, depending on who Ushi's Daycare wants to take this. So it's looking very good for them. But again, this third point's very hard to take on the attacker side just because they can get their DPS set up on the high grounds. As the window comes out, it's going to force Obo to back out probably.
Yeah, Obo not able to get through with the javelin spin. Was hoping to push in front of it, but has to just back up to the corner. Moryrix backs up to heal Empty. Thought about getting aggressive, uses the outburst to get away from the artillery strike, but Vibing does get caught in that. So the star DPS player from Ushi's Daycare here is now gone. Allen's able to pick up another one. Wink from the outside, keeping the team alive. Pilots ready. Captive Sun at the go. No Limits has everything they need. Captive Sun thrown in, will not get gobbled up. Terror Surge used to try to counter it, but that bonus Fortify will not be enough. Don't know if there's going to be enough follow-up here on Moryrix's Captive Sun, as they're going to get picked out of the sky, and it's just stall tactics from here on in. No Limits will complete, and with quite a bit of time left to boot.
Yeah, and I mean, in that last fight, they only needed really 1 ult to win that. It was Chen Olsen's Bastion was able to find picks, force out a lot of abilities, and just made No Limits push a lot easier. I've talked about that they were going to be at an ult disadvantage, but it didn't matter because of how good No Limits are with these ults. Other than maybe 1 fight, they've been very effective with these ults, and only having to use 1 to win some of these fights is so important, right? And able to get so much space with just 1 ult, right? They kind of won second point off of that. They won second point off of being able to use these ults effectively, and just get so much space off of 1 ult and then able to take the rest of the fights from there. And I mean, that was a very good push from them. That third point, they got halted a little bit. I mean, their big ult fight kind of got shut down, but they looked very good. Their first 2 points were very dominant, and now Ushi's Daycare, they made the swap to the Orisa. It helped them out a lot. They were able to hold back Obo and No Limits push, and we are going to see a pause on the side of No Limits, whatever it may be. But I mean, looking at
this is part of having such an international team as No Limits has, players playing from all over the world. So want to make sure pings are optimal here in map 7 of a grand final. So definitely can understand a bit of a pause called for here. But I have to agree. I mean, it was good adjustments there from Ushi's Daycare. They were able to stop the cart a little bit, but it seems like if Vibing's alive, they can win fights. If Vibing goes down, Ushi's Daycare's in trouble. It all seems to rest on their Sojourn player.
Yeah, he's just able to find so much value in these longer fights as well. And, after No Limits uses some of their abilities, it just becomes so much, easier for Vibing to find those picks. Like when the Immortality Field or the Ilari Pylon, he's able to get those picks and able to turn these fights by himself. And as well as with that, the Overclocks, able to get so much value with the Overclocks, able to find, almost 2 picks consistently every time. And it's like, able to get so much value off of just that one, all able to win fights like that. But No Limits, they looked very good. They were able to use their ults effectively across the entire team. And again, I'm gonna bring back that second point because it looked so good. They were able to use the dragon to force Ushi's Daycare off of that first corner, and then use that window on the next corner to win the fight. And that's just beautiful. You only had to use 2 ults for an entire point, especially on King's Row, where it feels like defenders can get set up very well, especially when they have those high grounds that Ushi's Daycare did have. But I mean, just looked very good for No Limits. And Ushi's Daycare, they made some adjustments. That third point definitely looked a lot better for them. We'll see if they can kind of take that into their attack, and maybe they'll be able to show another strong attack as well.
Ushi's Daycare need it. It's now or never. This is grand finals. There's no more season left. There's no more maps left. Either you put together a good attack and you capture all 3 points, or you will be watching as vice champions as No Limits place the crown on their heads.
Yeah, and it looks like Ushi's Daycare, they're going to be running that Orisa, Ilari, probably the Baptiste as well. I don't think they're going to run the Ilari Lucio, but yeah, you never know. Haven't seen it, and maybe this is going to be the surprise, but No Limits are going to run the same comp they've just been running. Do think it sets them a little bit better on defense just because it's easier for Allen to get the angles, it's easier for Chinolson to kind of hold space with that turret form, and Obo also could just play very defensive, but we'll see.
I mean, defending in general is just easier than attacking, right? Because you already own the space. You're not trying to take the space.
Exactly. It looks like Piper will play that Lucio, so we'll see how this works with the Ilari. I think it's a little tough just because you lose all that burst healing and that kind of group healing. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see, especially going into this Hanzo and the Bash and able to do so much damage over time. It's going to be so tough.
Ooh, a lot of resources used early here from No Limits, and Ushi's Daycare do not look dissuaded in the slightest. In fact, they've already found a pair of kills. Empty with a brilliant blitzkrieg play to catch 2 out behind Hotel. Allen in a bit of trouble up top, and 1 and done for Ushi's Daycare as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't really need that much healing over time if you're just able to walk in like that. That's kind of the value you get from the Lucio. You're able to play so much faster than No Limits can. And yeah, Empty was able to, split off 2 key side of No Limits, able to get those picks, and that was just very beautiful. Very good push. We'll see how this goes for the rest of the map, though. It's going to be setting the Lucio on card so you lose that speed, but Lazy Titan gets the pick on the Baptiste. Going to set them up very well. It's looking very, very good for Ushi's Daycare, but they do find the pick on the Lazy Titan, so they are going to have to play a little bit further back.
Both teams just kind of holding their corners at the moment, but Allen's able to weave another kill in with the bow from that high ground. Yeah, just drops somebody. Look at this angle from Allen. Holy cow, it's forced the entirety of Ushi's Daycare back.
Yeah, pushing past this choke is going to be so difficult because you have to watch out for Allen on that high ground. Your only chance of really contesting him is going to be Lazy Titan getting a good dive, but it's going to be hard to push for the rest of the team. Now, Moririx does have the Captain's Son here. Piper does swap back to the Baptiste. Gonna, not going to need that speed boost, I guess. But, I mean, Ushi's Daycare has the ultimates, but Piper gets picked off early by Allen again, and the Captain's Son still comes out, though.
Ooh, could not get out of the Chinolson despite having the Sunstruck. Is able to get that kill. Terror Search coming in, looking for a couple, because Lazy Titan's already got 2, make it 3 for Titan. And Empty, able to pull everybody together, and looks like it's just going to be enough. You know what? If you can't get up to Allen, you might as well pull Allen down to you.
Yeah, very good play. And the Captive Son on the side of Ushi's Daycare forces out that Immortality Field, able to obviously does a lot of damage, and then that's when Empty kind of you know, the neurons click in his brain, like, oh, now there's no immortality field, I can get so much value from my ult, and it also helps that Lazy Titan's able to find 3 with that as well. Now Lazy Titan has the Dragon Blade, Piper's gonna have the window soon, but No Limits has 5 ultimates, and it looks like they're going to engage with their Bastion ult right here. It's gonna find some value.
Trying to go in on the back of it. Terror Surge is early pulling it in with the Dragons. That's 3 unleashed. Managed to get 1 with it. Empty caught out. Could not retreat. Just stuck in the corner because of the Dragons. So it does result in a team fight win. Good combo here from No Limits. It's expensive, but worth it.
Yeah, you do use 4 ultimates to win that fight, but you're kind of saving grace here that you can kind of hold this little archway for a very long time just because it's so hard for Ushi's daycare to push in. But Ushi's daycare, they're going to have 2 ults right now. They're going to be able to get Vibing's overclock soon, so it's looking very good for them. They might only have to push this first corner with that window. Maybe Lazy Titan could get some cleanup picks with the Dragon Blade, but we'll see how this first fight goes. It looks like they are getting a lot of space right now.
I'm curious where Lazy Titan's going to choose to go. It's going to be right in the back looking at the supports during the amplification matrix, just jumping and dodging around. It takes out the immortality. In fact, that's all that was needed, as Vibing and the rest are able to get the job done while No Limits was distracted trying to fend off the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, that was very good. I mean, yeah, he had the Orisa and the Baptiste looking at him while he was going for that Dragon Blade. Just built enough time for the rest of Ushi's daycare to find the picks on the rest of the team of No Limits. And now Ushi's daycare, they have 3 ults for their 3 contests, but Piper gets picked off early, but now Vibing has the window. Overclock is going to force No Limits to play back. They will probably not get a recontest here.
No, here comes Obo. Is Obo going to get their time? Yeah, Obo has gotten the touch, pushed away from the Javelin spin, but Obo's able to use their own spin and contest. Terror Search now out from Obo. Mortality Field is down. It's empty, excuse me. Holy cow, that is empty, able to find 2. And now Obo eats an energy javelin right between the eyes. And this point will get capped, and Ushi's daycare will be able to get this close high ground as well.
Yeah, another great play by Empty, and it really does get set up by Ushi's daycare. Their little combo they did with the amplification matrix and the overclock, able to force out the immortality field and really force No Limits to play so far back because you don't want to get one shot. But they will still get the recontest, but now No Limits are going into this next fight. They're going to have a huge ult advantage, and again, this third point is so hard to push into. We'll see what they do, though. Moririx does have the Captain Sun here. Could be huge if they can find the picks, but looks like they're going to have to back up a little bit, do that Maywall, and the Immortality's force.
Oh, Ushi's daycare really doesn't want to give up that position. They fought hard to try to hold on to it. With Vibing on that high ground, it was just such a powerful spot, such great sight lines for Vibing, but No Limits, they recognize that importance, and they muscle through and steal it right back.
And the good thing was they didn't have to use any ults. Now you're going into this next fight with your Orisa Captive Sun combo or your Orisa Bastion combo,
yeah,
whichever
this is gonna
one
be a Terror Surge combo right now.
Yeah,
here it goes.
See it very soon. It goes in very aggressive, and it's huge.
It got eaten. Empty recognized it. All the utilities taken out. Eventually, Obo was able to find some kills. Oh, despite the best efforts of Empty, able to gobble up that Captive Sun.
Yeah, I mean, that was still crazy. They were able to force, able to get that E. It didn't really matter though. Everybody was grouped up. Just the damage from the Orisa, they were still able to get the value. But going into this next fight, you're gonna be, well, you're gonna be even if you're on the side of Ushi's daycare. You're really playing for the fight after this though, because you might get all 5 of your ults. Now, if you can win this with these ults, if you can win with the Captive Sun and the Blade, then you're set up for the next fight. But No Limits, it looks like they're gonna use the Bastion ult. It's gonna maybe find 1. Doesn't really look like if the Captive Sun is huge.
Captive Sun is big, and here comes the Blade to try to follow up on it. Blizzard is there, might hold the rest of Ushi's daycare at bay. 3 were frozen up, and 2 of which are going to go down. But Lazy Titan was able to find the Baptiste in the back end of duel with Wink. That Wink is going to win, and that is it for that push. Another one down. Ushi's daycare running out of time.
Yeah, Allen had a huge Blizzard right there, forces Ushi's daycare to play back, and Lazy Titan actually was making really good plays, able to deflect the little Bastion grenade back onto him and able to find that pick, but just really didn't matter because his team was completely dead. Now Ushi's daycare, looks like they're gonna swap to the Lucio, still have Piper on the Baptiste, so they're kind of swapping their Bap Lucio player, but they're gonna have a bunch of ults here. No Limits only has this window. They're gonna try and use it to hold back Ushi's daycare before the rest of their ults come online.
No Limits playing very aggressive. And might regret it here. Starting to back up. The Terror Surge comes out from Empty, trying to catch him around that corner. Don't really get a whole lot with it. It'll get a Mortality Field from Eagle. Keeping No Limits up close and personal in this fight. 60 seconds remain here in our map 7. Ushi's daycare chasing around on this point. Vibing looking for some room to use this overclock. Lazy Titan's going in, but has to use that deflect early. Trying to get out. Didn't get the wall climb. Moririx ends up going down, and eventually the tactical grenade picks off Lazy Titan. 40 seconds to go.
Oh, it's brutal, but I mean, going into this last fight now, I mean, we're only gonna have one more fight here. Maybe I don't even think we're gonna get to see a recon test. But No Limits, they have two ultimates right now. They're gonna be able to build the Bastion ult most likely. Uchi's Daycare only has 5 beings overclock, which we've seen has made a lot of great plays, but it's gonna be so tough when you have to deal with all these abilities. But Obo's gonna go really fast with this combo, and it might find a lot of value.
I think. Just hoping for a draw here. Let's get a sound barrier as well as that overclock and vibing gets one with it. Maybe the most important one. The Bastion somehow still standing as the healing pylon goes down and Chenolson runs out of sustain. It is just Allen on this point trying to build up to the rest of this blizzard to make one last stop at the back of the point.
Yeah, and they might find, yeah, they're gonna piece kind of late. We'll be in time for this next fight, but I mean, that was a pretty good ult from Ushi's Daycare, able to from No Limits, because they were able to force 2 ults for their own 2 ults. Going into this next fight, though, you're going to have both DPS ults. Ushi's Daycare has to rely on this Dragon Blade to get a lot of value, as well as maybe being able to build the Amplification Matrix. But we'll see if they're even able to get a touch.
Artillery strike and blizzard. Oh no, so much AoE on this point. What do you do if you're Ushi's Daycare? There is nothing you can do, unfortunately. The cards were stacked against you at the very end. Man, it took all 7 maps. It took down to the final point, but No Limits. They stay the course and come out on top. They are your Masters Grand Finals champions here in a 4-3 win over Ushi's Daycare.
Yeah, just a very exciting series, very long series too. I mean, you know, going into that 3rd point attack for Ushi's Daycare, I was like, well, maybe we'll get to see an overtime or something. Maybe we might get to map 8, but no, very good defense on the side of No Limits. They were able to get make a lot of good plays, and especially, again, they didn't have to commit on a lot of ults to win certain fights, and they were able to keep those ults for the next ones, and that's what really helped them throughout this entire series, right? That's why they were able to win this map as well as some others. But again, I mean, they very good plays on both sides, and really looking at this last map, it was kind of a huge clash of what we've seen both these teams being very good at, which is this brawl style, and it was a banger. We got to see go down to the wire, and yeah, overall, just a very good game.
I mean, an AU Grand Finals ending on King's Row with a big brawl matchup, like, it felt quite serendipitous. As we take a look back at how we got here, No Limits opening up at those first 2 maps, looking like they were just going to run away with this series just here on the first page. But nope, turns out we needed both pages full of maps to get through this one as we get into the back half. And it was Circuit Royale where No Limits were able to put up that massive time bank, and they able to maintain just that nose of a lead throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's just very, I mean, yeah, again, very good series, and as we've been talking about so many times, those first 2 maps, it looked like we were going to see a very one-sided series, but Ushi's Daycare, they came back and they put up a very good fight, able to win 3 maps after that. And again, this was No Limits' first map loss in the entire tournament. I think that's something we didn't really talk about a lot, other than like really early on after they lost that first map. This is the first time they lost a map, and we get to see a huge map 7 series along with it. So I mean, overall, it's been very good, and, you know, on paper, it really should have been one-sided for No Limits, because, you know, they haven't lost, and then you look at, they've already played Ushi's Daycare before, and they won 3, like, all, you know, maybe it's just going to be another sweep, but we got to see a very good game, just very good plays overall from both sides.
That's fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And we're actually going to get an interview as well. So give us just a few minutes to get that set up and enjoy some of our beautiful Pixar. When we come back, we're going to talk to our winners. We'll see you there in a minute.
I'm so caught in this, we're so lost.
And we are here. We've actually got a player from both teams. We've got Obo, tank player here from No Limits, as well as Piper, support player from Ushi's Day, for coming in and chatting with us.
Hello.
Yeah,
I
no
am
problem.
Obo.
Hi. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's good. It's all good. I mean, congrats to No Limits. Y'all did take the win, but I mean, it went the distance. I mean, this one had a little bit of everything. I mean, going all the way back to Ilios, which seems like it was yesterday. I mean, like I feel like that was a long time ago. But thinking back that far, we'll just start with something easy here. A little softball question for you both. Give me a favorite moment over the course of this 3-hour epic gargantuan 7-map series. Obo, we'll start with you.
I think my favorite moment would probably be when we misclicked the beat 2 times on Colosseum. That was kind of fun. I'll be honest, goopsies.
When you misused beat?
Yeah, twice! It's okay, it happens. Other than that, any fucking moment where I didn't play Orisa, to be fair.
Oh, well, I mean, so, yeah, there was a few maps you didn't play Orisa. I mean, you got to play a little bit of Ryan in there, like...
Wait, oh, sorry. Don't mind me.
All right. I'm curious, but I'll let it go. Piper, give me a favorite moment. What was your favorite moment of this epic fight?
I think there were 2 times where our tank managed to get quite a lot of people off the map.
Oh yeah,
Colosseum.
Colosseum, that was great. That was amazing.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, so I had so much fun the entire time. I'm a bit of the hype guy, I think, of my team right now. I'm having a great fucking time. But yeah, there was like that one time, that time on Colosseum, and then another time when our hit scan. Vibing got 2 in a row with Ansunabasu.
The Colat was so good.
That was really
No,
good.
it wasn't good. It was retained.
Wait, I gotta know, on that exact moment, were y'all planning to double support ult and the Colat interrupted it? Because that was my assumption looking from the outside. Was that the plan, Obo, in that particular moment?
I'm pretty sure. We also wanted to invest a lot in that fight, and then 2 people die, and I'm like, shit, bro, go back to spawn, GG's.
Yeah, take your sound barrier with you.
Yeah, back to spawn.
Piper, that is really wholesome, by the way. I love just hearing that you had an absolute blast the whole time. Like, that just warms my heart.
Absolutely. I was having a fucking great time. Listen, Ilios is my favorite map, and we lost it so badly, and I was still at the end of it like, yeah, let's go! Next day. Anyway, yeah. If I may also just interject, I find it really funny because Obo and the other team on No Limits, we've like our teams have scrimmed against each other a couple times before.
Gotcha.
We screamed twice, and we played one match. Actually, 2 maps now. 2 matches, sorry. That's kind of crazy. We're like brothers. And...
Yeah, we have each other on friends listed and everything. Although you were kind of mean this time, Obo.
My bad. I was just trying to get in your head, to be fair, and it worked. Look at us. We won.
Oh no, I don't get angry. I just get sad.
No way. I'm feeling bad now.
No. Don't make Piper sad. Don't make Piper sad.
You'll be happy to know that I still had a great fucking time, even though you won.
By the way, friends, this is Piper watching their mouth. I just want to throw that out there. This is.
That's true.
I'm struggling to stay contained right now. My rage is immeasurable.
I can see Tom over here bursting with questions. Tom, what do you got? What do you got for our 2 spectacular players here?
Well, I do want to bring it back to after map 2, right? This was, we get the map choice coming in from Ushi's Daycare. We go to map 3. Huge win on the side of Ushi's Daycare. So I guess for both of you, how are you guys feeling after that, and how was the team energy? And I guess we'll start with Obo again.
Basically, Flashpoint, we lose. So honestly, it wasn't a big hit to our mental. Also, we didn't play ball, which made me sad. I mean, honestly, it was kind of whatever. We just go next. Losing the next map though was kind of sad. But losing Flashpoint, we didn't really care.
That's fair. That's fair. New map type. You know, you're gonna lose, and then
Nah, we just suck. There's no new map type.
But coming out of map 2, like Piper, how did y'all keep the mental good?
Oh, I like to think that I was a bit of a part of that because I was like, listen, we lost 2. I had a great time. We won the 3rd one, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then then we just kept going. We were just like, everyone kind of like started keeping their energy. We were figuring out that like from our perspective, No Limits was just countering every single thing we tried to play. So when we started mirroring them, I feel like that's when we started to win. And that was, I think, from my perspective, I'm not quite sure if that's how it worked on the last map because we lost that and we were mirroring. But from like the when we actually mirrored on the Queen comp, that's when we won. And that's when we were also getting some really fun plays, I think, that just kind of kept our spirits up from, Vivi and Vibing, and a Boop, and just honestly pretty good plays from us all around. Everyone was trying their hardest, and our coaches were cheering us on from the sidelines, which was really nice.
But you have coach? No way.
We have 2 coaches, and I think a 3rd. I'm not quite sure. I'm sorry, but we have 2 definite coaches, and one guy that just sits there sometimes.
Yeah, that's our coach. He just sits there sometimes. That's crazy.
Why is your coach sitting in their scrims? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking Sweetfall.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Well, I know it was interesting getting. I mean, the way this worked out, I know wasn't ideal, but it still feels like it worked out in a really good way. I mean, I'm glad to hear that y'all had a good time. It was an awesome match. What's thoughts moving forward? Like, are we expected to see y'all stick around as teams to continue to keep competing? What's your plans for the future? Moving forward from here. Again, Obo, we'll start with you.
Honestly, I didn't think much about that.
No Limits.
No Limits? I don't know. Hopefully it will be great. That's all that matters. I mean, we'll play some more tourneys if we can, but then also I think some people will start school soon, so it will be tough. Yeah, fucking toughies, but it's okay. Honestly, we have a great team vibe in general, and we have great friendships inside the team, so even if we don't play more tournaments altogether, or if we just split a little bit, or just end up not playing Overwatch, we'll still stay friends, and I think that's great.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you. You should play Minecraft with us.
I haven't played Minecraft in so long. I'm
Can I join?
Ridiculous at Minecraft. It's funny you mentioned that though, because Ushi's Daycare, y'all listed your accomplishments as the friends you've made along the way. So, like, I feel like there's a similar vibe going on your side. Is that true?
So the funny thing is that I'm actually relatively new to the team as their 3rd support player.
Okay.
They accepted me as their 3rd support player. I'm still kind of in shock about that, but so in all honesty, I still haven't quite figured out who's doing what and how busy everyone is, but so far it seems like we're keeping up our scrim schedule. I'm not quite sure if we're just gonna jump straight into the next tournament, but I think like a lot of our people, they're doing uni and stuff. Like I just started art school, so we're all just kind of choosing and picking when we have time to do something like this. And this was like the first time that I actually was in a tournament, honestly, in like a long time. I think we're gonna go into more of them as we go on, but that's as much as I think I know.
I hope so. I thoroughly enjoyed watching both of your squads play, and I hope we get to see more of it. And also high five for fellow art student, animation major. So there you go.
Ayo.
Wait, you see? You too? Wait, I just spoke French, but I did an art major. I mean, I stopped midway, but I did. That's kind of crazy.
I'm doing illustration.
Yeah, I was an animator, so.
Ayo, that's awesome.
Damn, send me your shit on DMs. Like, I don't want to see.
High fives all around. Any shout outs or anything? Any last thoughts here?
I have one.
I'm just gonna give you both a chance. You don't have to raise your hand or nothing. You'll both get an opportunity. No, go ahead, Omo.
First. Okay, shout out to my big boy Alan, and shout out to Amreti for building the team and shit, and Wing sucks, but it's okay. I like him still. Thank you to all of the people who've been in the team, because there has been a lot, and GG's to Ushi's daycare.
From my side, from my side, we got the shout out is my entire team. Y'all are fucking cool. Sorry, fuck. That's my shout out. Also, you know, I think we got the most of the POTGs. That's all I want to say.
That's true. I don't think we got.
You may have won. You may have won. You may have won, but you may have won the actual match. But we definitely won when it comes to the POTG department.
My bad. You won.
And also big GGs. This was from my side very fun. Don't know if the other ones were having as much fun as I did, but I hope they did.
I love it. Love the wholesomeness. Yeah, big GGs all around.
Thanks for having me.
It was wonderful. Thank you all so much for playing and shelling out and coming in here and talking with us. And I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. We are the ones who are fortunate to have had y'all here. So thank y'all very much. And though this match is done, we will have more CGL coming up a little bit later on. Later on tonight, we've got in a Diamond Division we will have on stream. That's going to be Blink 180 Ult versus Mythos Griffins. So that'll be happening at 8 Eastern. But until then, well, we are going to bid you adieu. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you all for watching and hanging out with us. And we'll see you soon. Bye, friends.
Thank you. Goodbye.